Okay, three, two, one. Hey everyone, welcome to episode 47 of the Nerds and Words podcast. I am Moreland TV, as always, joined with Potion Shop,
Hello.
as well as Kerr.
Yo,
So let's see. How's you guys' week been going? Potion, let's start with you. What's new, man?
I started my Infinite stream, which is like a glorified subathon. I've been going for. I've already lost track. I think it's 4 days. Maybe it's 5. So anyway, that's going. There's like almost 200 hours on the timer. So it's going on for at least another week, at least. I've been fun though. Got 1,000 skill points on my striker. Going for 2,000 life fame. Gonna be leveling Kuno 62. I finished my Fugar's journal for the DP and my Pavano journal for the HP. Holy smokes! I bought. There's no tri blue coral earrings in the marketplace, and the price can't get any higher. So you can't. They're pre-ordered. You can't get them. There's like 73 pre-orders. So I bought a Tet, and then I went and got RNG boxes. I croned it for pin on a 0 fail stack to downgrade a try, and then I turned it in.
Whoa, dude.
Yep.
Okay, that's one strategy.
And I was done. And so that would have taken me like 3-4 hours of grinding or RNG boxes or some other struggle, and one cronstone attempt, and I'm back to grinding. So I'm happy with it.
dude, wait, did you bang out the entire knowledge portion like in one sitting?
The Caltheon one?
Yeah, for the Pavina Greco, where you have to get all those different knowledges around like the map.
I already had everything done, so I never really thought about it. It just auto-completed for me.
Yeah,
Dude, that's
that part. We have to like go to all the random landmarks and shit.
Yeah, I mean, I did that a while back, but I think I had maybe half of those. I remember doing that, but I already had like half. The one that frustrated me was I thought I had the one that was over by Tooth Fairy Cabin, but apparently I didn't have that one, and I'd ran past it like 50 times.
Yeah, I remember doing those. That was a long time ago for me, though. I definitely remember recently finishing the last like 50 HP or whatever of the HP journal, and I did not think to break a Tet earring down. That's pretty funny. I just put up a bunch of orders for bases and a bunch of orders for prize and duos, and over the course of like a month, I was able to make it. But that's so funny, dude. Croning a Tet. I just looked at the price. The Tet and the Tri are like almost the same cost.
Mm-hmm.
But then you have the Kronstones on top of that.
But they're free, you get so many of them. So
yeah, they're free. They're free. Literally free.
And plus, with with new spots being like 300 mil an hour, like it's 1 hour grinding for a click,
Yeah. How's the Infinite stream been going? Does it disrupt your sleep at all, or you just sleep on stream and everything's fine, right?
I sleep on stream. I've been having a hard time. Like normally when I want to adjust my schedule, I just like become a potato and I watch like Netflix or YouTube but now I'm on my stream, and so now I'm like, I don't want to play BDO anymore, but I need to stay up for the podcast. So I ended up taking a compromise this week, and I stayed up. Or I slept for 3 hours before the podcast, and so I woke up 15 minutes before the podcast, and I was over at the camera like, Drove, got some energy drinks. I got some Coke here, and
Coke.
Yeah,
I got not using exclamation focus for your energy.
I should, but I don't have any in my local area, so that's just the swing. And obviously not big brain enough to pre-order some. So
yeah, ordering it online can be difficult.
Oh yeah, and I spent since we're on the HP thing, I decided to do Doran Morgrim. I always say his name wrong. It has 5 HP, so I got that done. That cost me, I think, half a bill for 5 HP permanently.
You think it was worth?
No, but I did it because that way it's done. I need to do Deeves.
Yeah,
Deeves. I have 7 HP. I can earn through Deeves permanently, so I think I'm gonna do that. I mean, if I did the Doran Morgan one, I might as well do the Deeves one. I figured so.
True.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else. think that's about it.
Kerr, how's your week been going?
Eating some food, made a Pin Black Star, drank some stuff, made a Pin Black Star. It's been pretty good, actually.
Yeah, just pretty normal, typical week.
Yeah, but so I did like a meme click because they gave us so many crons over the last couple months that I had like 2.5k crons or something sitting in my Black Spirit safe. And then I like broke down some costumes and it went pin. So yeah, we got 2 pin Black Stars now.
Damn, how many people you think are at double pin Black Star at this point?
Probably more than you'd think, but
Couple hundred,
Yeah.
probably.
probably I don't
That's
know.
crazy,
Probably a
man.
decent bit though.
It's gonna be the new soft cap.
I hate it so
I mean,
much.
especially like if they give us Jay's hammers again for the Heidel Ball in 2 weeks.
I better one tap it, or I guess three tap it. How many total clicks did you
So,
have for your waking
yeah, how
weapon?
many total clicks?
Yeah.
So the first one took 24 attempts and the second one took 7 attempts.
Oh
Okay.
my god, dude!
And
Oh,
2 of
that's
those 7
disgusting.
were Jay's hammers. So
And what's
it's like-
the stack?
the first one was a 202 and the second one was 224.
Yeah, that's free, dude. That's
Basically
fucking
free.
Free.
Yeah. Okay.
Dude, you bought yours, okay? You didn't even have to go through the pain and depression of like the
I
clicks
spent
and
100
crons.
bill. You spent like 15 tops.
Yeah. I
For
I
the
think
second
you
one,
don't-
it was like 16.
I
Yeah,
think
it's
you
pretty-
underestimate how much 100 bill is. Because a
100 bill's a
hundred
lot.
bill is like 3 mil trash loot of what you're grinding at Bloody Monastery. That's 3 mil trash loot at least.
Yeah, 100 bills a lot.
I spent
I've
100
saved up a
bill.
lot, dude. I bought my pin Tungrat necklace for 86. Okay, I know what it's. I've experienced the pain. All right.
I spent
I
100 bill,
I will
like,
say your
a
first one
year
you suffered a
or-
lot
and
for your
half
first
ago.
one. You suffered a lot for your first one, but the second one I can't
The
be.
second one was free, dude.
Yeah,
It's free. I can't lie.
I mean, I'm happy for you. I was talking to my chat about it because they watched the clip. I thought it was your first click, so I feel better knowing it's your like what, 7th. You said.
Yeah, it was 7,
So-
which is basically free. But yeah,
I feel way better knowing it's your 7th. Yeah, that makes me feel way better. Because I feel like if you get it on your first click, I almost am obligated to hate you. So I appreciate that you didn't. I feel like I'm really happy you didn't get on the first one.
Another thing, I said like a week ago, like because when I did that 80 something hour stream, I was like, okay, because people keep asking when am I going to go for the infinite pot. Well, I said I'll go for the infinite pot if Shiny ever gets his Elton. And surprise, surprise, he got his Elton this week. after
Oh,
all these
congrats,
years.
shiny, dude.
Wow.
Holy
So-
shit.
Yeah, so now I finally have to go for the infinite pots. That fucking sucks, dude.
but
But grats to Shiny on his Elton finally, though, after all these years.
I am only going to grind infinite pot pieces during the podcast since that's the only time I've ever gotten one. So that's going to be my strategy going forward.
hey, I mean, it'll work out.
Dude, I can't believe Shiny got the piece finally. I wonder if there's like I wonder if he has a tally of how long he spent going for that shit.
Well, if
He
you
had like
based on-
20 Vodkins or something in that screenshot. It was crazy.
I do have one Vodkin
Oof.
though. I've only grinded there like less than 50 hours, and I have a Vodkin piece. So that'd be 1,000 hours total. Is that right? This is the math right on that.
I'm not sure. It's a lot of hours though, spread out over the course of the last couple years.
I would
Especially
be
back
shocked if it was only 1,000 hours that he spent there.
Yeah.
It's got to be much higher than that, I would guess.
Yeah. For people to know, the Elton piece is the rarest part of the compass, and it's an infinite compass, allows you to teleport 4 your party members to your location. It takes on average 1,000 hours to grind, if not more. So
There's
it's
no
Yeah, I
telling.
mean, some people get it in 3 hours. Some people get it in a few thousand, give or take.
who's counting? I mean, but yeah, it's crazy. Big shout out to Big and Shiny. I bet he's happy. I bet he's so happy that he's doing another test because that's how he celebrates things by
He's
testing.
gonna get a
stuff.
second one. Yeah, he's gonna go. He's gonna go figure out some mechanics now that he's got that compass.
I think he was working on some kind of like tool that lets you like put in different thresholds of DP versus different thresholds of AP. I was talking about it a couple days ago on a stream. I think it's probably like 2 weeks ago at this point. So that
Interesting,
sounds
okay.
pretty interesting.
I need to do one for loot drops. That's what I need to do. It's super easy. I can get like a level. I need to go get to like a level 10 character. Go harvest like Ultra Imps and then do a level 60 character. And you can cross reference it. See what the item drop rate is.
Oh, we're gonna see how much the level 60 drop rate is nerfed.
Mm-hmm. My theory is it's 10% per level after 5 levels, but I don't know the exact if that's true or not.
Okay. Well, my week has been interesting. So, Burning Crusade launched again on Tuesday. So, I've been playing that super hard and having a lot of fun. I didn't really play it a lot back then. So, experiencing things kind of fresh, kind of remember it. But that's been fun, mainly just because it's like something to do with other people. BDO has been like very solo game 99% of the time outside of Node Wars. So it's been cool to like play a game and go through that with the community and with the homies. My internet has been absolutely awful at the new place after being fine for several weeks. As soon as TBC came out, my upload just died completely for a couple days. So I've been fighting against that, but it seems to be better now. So yeah, that was kind of ominous timing. I was super hyped for that, and my internet just stopped working. But yeah, we're like level 65 now, working our way up to level 70, and then there's a bunch of raids and stuff that I'll be doing with the boys. So I've been enjoying that. And then the trial tournament is kind of sneaking up on me. That's happening tomorrow. And I feel rusty as fuck, dude. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna have to like get on early tomorrow and do some practice or something. Try to get back into the swing of BDO so that I can make some sort of showing in that tournament. But
Do you know?
I don't know,
Do you know how many
dude.
people entered the Warrior one? Because I was looking at the Wizard one, and there was like only one guy that entered. So it's like he wins by default.
Oh, I didn't see the. I only saw the schedule. I didn't actually see. Did they post everyone who's in it?
The brackets were in some of the brackets were in the partner Discord from the people that have signed up.
Yeah, I don't know. Do we know where to find those?
I know they made a website post on it, but I haven't like looked too deep into it.
Yeah, I'll try to find that while we're talking. But yeah, I went to the post and I found the schedule, but I have no idea like where the bracket is. Maybe that's buried in here somewhere. There's just so much like the posts they make are so long, bro. There's just so much
convoluted.
copy pasta. There's so much copy pasta. They put the rules like 15 times, and I don't know. But yeah, I'll try to find it. I don't think it's that many people because you had to have won a round in the first
Yep.
tournament, which had like, I don't know, maybe 20 warriors in it. So there can't be that many. Like even if every single warrior who could be eligible entered, it couldn't be more than like 10 or 12 at the most.
Yeah, it's kind of weird how they went about that, and then how they said like even if not many people enter, they're not gonna go back on it.
Yeah, it's extremely weird. It seems like somebody at Perlibis just wants to get this over with as quickly as possible. It's really odd how they don't value this sort of content, and like it's very obvious how much attention it brings to the game, and like the Twitch views are crazy, and the community gets all stirred up. So good for the game, but they don't seem to. I don't know. I mean, maybe they'll take our feedback and do better next time. I'm not really sure what to make.
They're
of
also
it all.
really weird about how they do it, because last time they didn't even start streaming it until like semifinals, when they missed all that traction throughout all of the progressive like fights, like the progressive rounds.
I can
Yeah.
understand that if they're going to be like if they don't want to do the co-casting right with like voiceovers and everything. 'Cause that's a lot of time already. But like, I feel like they should have at least streamed the matches and just had it up there with no voiceover or something. So people could follow it a little bit.
Oh yeah, for sure. Or like you have an entire partner program. Literally, you could just pull, say, yo, anybody want to be on the official stream for these quarterfinals, et cetera,
True.
et cetera. Like, they got a whole partner program. So, but they did good with the semis and the finals. So hopefully they can pull from that, right? Going
Mhm.
forward.
Yeah, I mean, I guess
There are 10 warriors.
Oh, so the Warrior actually got some fights then.
so. How many people do you have to
I've
beat?
got to go against. Let's see. I have to go against Sphero in round 1. And then if I beat him, I am in the
Semifinals?
top 4.
So win 1, getting top 4.
I mean, look, if I beat Sphero at a trial warrior, I might be one of the top 4 warriors in the server. Come on, he's pretty fucking good. Maybe. We'll see.
He is pretty good.
You seen that dude's montages? He's got like 900 FPS, man.
So are you sticking to Succession?
Yeah, of course. I don't have time to get good at Awakening in one day. I'm way out of practice for Awakening. At least Succession, I played a lot last year. So
True. Makes sense. I think it'll be fun though. Some of the prizes look really good, like even better than the first one. So, which is weird because there's less people.
I don't even care about the prizes. It's all bragging rights for me.
You just want to be able to say you clap some people would suck.
Dude, I'm still kind of salty about how the first tournament went down, honestly. So yeah, like now that everything's gear equalized and
Hey,
like,
but look, at least you lost to the guy that won the whole thing.
That's true.
Yeah, but like the way I lost was kind of cheesy, bro, with the 50% BSR and everything else. I mean, I'm not saying I would have won if he didn't use it, but I'm still a little bit bothered by it, okay?
Yeah.
Is he in this one?
Let's check. I'm gonna get my fucking revenge.
You might get to run it back, dude.
I'm sure he is. I mean, I'm sure everyone joined up. Yeah, he's in. He's going against Goldsteinberg round 1. That's going to be a good fight. Man,
Okay.
I hope Gold doesn't knock him out. I want to. Actually, I wouldn't be able to go against Bicep unless we both got to the finals. It would have to be the last match because he's in a different bracket. So I wouldn't go against him in top 4. I'd have to go against him in top 2.
Okay, so I guess it sets up.
Could
like
be good, dude. That would be content. Honestly, if it was me and him in the finals, that would be content.
It'd be like we get to do it over again, but this time it's in the proper area. The finals. You have a lot of people doing your TBC with you, right? You got I peeked in your Discord the other day. You had like 20 people sitting around.
Yeah, we got a pretty good group. We got like 20, 25 people. And we'll probably need a little bit more than that if we're actually going to do 25-man raids because, people don't always show up. But yeah, it's been a good group. It's been a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to, when an MMO comes out that has group content that isn't 15 years old and we can play with the community and
if only, bro.
Yeah. But yeah, you guys want to move into the patch notes?
Sure.
I am very, very out of the loop. I have not looked at BDO at all, so I might ask some dumb questions about this week's patch notes. But yeah, Potion, you want to take it away?
Absolutely. That's I'm usually the one asking dumb questions, so it'll be a nice change of pace. The Zarka Berry got added, which is basically boss, like Zarka boss, scroll boss, and you can do it once a week. The first 3 are 3-player bosses, and then the last 2 are solo. I'm not sure if difficulty changes or not, but it is actually very hard. You do have to have a group for the first 3. So I think it's pretty cool. And then week 3 gives you a DP. Week 4 you get 20 HP, and then week 5 you get 1 AP permanently.
Yeah, I want that permanent AP. So how does this? I heard people were asking me about this while I was playing WoW, and naturally I had no idea what was going on. So where's where do you go to do this?
You just go to the Zarka Shrine, I believe, and you summon him. There's a scroll. You get a scroll in your inventory when you
Okay.
Yeah.
And the whole 1 week thing, do you have to do it this week? Like, will the scrolls pile up week after week and you can do them all at the end? Or do you have to do it right now and stay ahead or else you fall behind?
I think you have to do it this week, and you don't really fall behind necessarily, but it'll take you one additional week, right? Because it's 5 weeks, one per week. So I think it's 1
Okay.
week from like this week. I'm not sure if it's from the day you do it or if it's from the patch day. I'm not sure.
The way I understood it from the thing is that it's just like the horse quest, the T10 or mat quests, where it's 7 days from the day you did it.
Yeah, there's some interesting blue text around this. They're talking about how they want people to have goals other than gear for progressing their AP and DP. And then they're saying that it has its origins and feedback from adventurers wanting to take on world bosses 1v1. So that's what this is. There's a 7-minute time limit to make sure it serves as a challenge to make overcoming Zarka more meaningful. It's so interesting how they implement our supposed feedback. So there's apparently this cohort of players out there who want to 1v1 world bosses, and
Weird.
they're combining that with the feedback of people saying, give us miscellaneous progression other than just grinding for gear. And this is the result of those two things. So kind of unexpected personally, but I don't know. How is it? Is it decent content? Is the fight interesting? Is it just a juiced up regular Zarko? What's it like?
I haven't done it yet because I'm still waiting for a group. We have a group that's going to run it later today. Or maybe early tomorrow. I don't know. But yeah, I haven't
It
done
was
quite
pretty
yet.
fun to run it though, in a way, because I say it was fun. It was different because we got killed a bunch of times, so it was that part was kind of cool, and all of us were 300 plus Kudum, or ours was 300 Kudum, and it still took us 6 minutes of the 7-minute timer to kill it. But apparently Elvia weapons work on it, so the play is to use Elvia weapons. I didn't know that when I did it, but
I heard they didn't work.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've heard both. I guess the only way is I'll stick an Ellie
I've
weapon
heard
in there
both
and
too.
see.
So, I mean, are you dying because the fight's new and you guys haven't had a chance to figure it out? Or are you dying because it's just one shot?
He has a different mechanic. Charge up. He has this charge up thing, and if you don't time it and iframe it right, you basically get one shot. Yeah.
But you had to eye from it? There's nothing else?
Yeah, you can't hide behind a wall, the pillars or anything, like you used to be able to do with original Zarka. He does this charge up once his HP gets down to it was 50%, 40%, or maybe it was 30%. I forget. It's at different HP stages, and then he did it he did it 3 times. Then he never did it again.
Do you lose crystals from it?
We didn't lose any crystals, or at least I didn't lose any crystals. So I don't think you can lose crystals because it's like a scroll boss. It would be interesting if you could, though.
Interesting. Okay. Well, I'm sure I'll get around to that eventually. Can you you can just group up with anyone and do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, even if someone hasn't done the pre-requirement, because the pre-requirement is to do the Hadum quest line thing, and even if they haven't done it, they can still party with you, and they will get the item that you have to that you're doing it for, the little thorn thing.
They can just keep the item and then use it later on when they get to there.
I don't know if you can pile them up, but for example, I did it with Silva and Junior hadn't yet done the pre-quest yet, but he was still able to do it and get the item that you need for the first week. So I don't know if it's going to work for subsequent weeks, but for this first one, you can get the thorn even if you haven't.
Well, I mean, hearing about Junior, that's another week, and also explains why you died alive.
Dude, Junior's never getting unbanned, bro.
Oh, poor Junior. Okay. Well, what do you think? Do you want to see more of this type of content, or does it feel like a chore? What's your? I mean, I think the fact that they put a timer on it, that's a bit of a challenge, right? I guess the next step would be for the actual mechanics to be challenging or interesting as well.
It's kind of weird that they put the AP gated between 5 weeks minimum. That's kind of weird. I don't know how I feel about time gated stuff, but the concept of time trials against bosses is kind of cool, right?
Yeah.
Hmm.
They did that a little bit way back in the day with guild bosses in Com Sylvia. Remember when guilds were racing to be the fastest clear on that guild boss Offentet? And then like somebody found an exploit and it didn't really matter anymore. But
Yeah,
Rip.
they
for
crushed it
for
by,
a
like,
minute, there was an
forever.
interesting contest to see who could kill him the fastest. I've always thought that's like really that could be really good content both for guilds and for solo players, where you could, have time trials on certain bosses or certain objectives. But I mean, I don't know. There's
So-
so much of that content that's not being utilized.
I like the idea of getting together with some of the boys and going out and doing something, right? Whether it be a boss or some activity that's unique for like a set period of time, and like planning it out. I feel like the time gate should be replaced by some type of required item that takes you maybe like 5 to 10 hours to grind for, so that you're like, you do it, then everybody next week grinds out the items, and then you do it again whenever the boys are ready, right? And so you replace the time gate with like some type of, it's still a time gate, but it's a time gate with you, spending time in the game doing something else like gathering or killing monsters or buying things at the marketplace and running scrolls or whatever. I feel like that should be, because I feel like the arbitrary this time limit doesn't really feel good to a player. But if you can replace that with like, let's all go grind for 10 hours at Castle Hadum or whatever, and then we can do another Zarka scroll, like I think that feels a lot better, because then you let the players choose how long they want to wait.
I think a lot of these MMOs are kind of going more the mobile route, where it's like a lot of time gated, a lot of like, wait and come back later sort of stuff. Otherwise, I don't know. I don't really know what the mentality behind that is. I guess they don't want people to run out of things to do, or they think that if they spread out the objective, it's like a hook that keeps the player coming back into the game when maybe they otherwise would have lost interest. There's some kind of like weird psychology behind it, but I wouldn't be surprised if we start to see more of this stuff.
I hope we don't. I don't really
Yeah.
like it. I
I
think
guess it's one of those things where like if you're on top of it and you are able to start doing it on day one, for the 5-week thing, it feels okay because you're not behind. But like if you had to fall behind due to like real life situations or whatever, you just didn't have the time, or just couldn't clear it. That's when it starts to feel bad,
And what's going to happen with this is like, everybody who does it right away will be able to find people pretty easily because everybody needs to do it. But then as time goes on, all the veteran players are going to have accomplished it. And so if you're a new player, like, hey, can you help me do this Arca boss? No, I'm grinding. Like, it's gonna be hard to find a group for it as time goes on. And I think it's gonna be a much worse experience for newer players in a year from now.
Just ask your friends to do it with you.
Yeah,
You guys have friends in this game, right?
I kind of wish it was through a guild, because a guild would be willing to help out guild members to kind of like entice them to continue being part of the guild or just part of the community sense, right? And I feel like this being, it's really hard to convince people to do something with you if it's out of the good nature of their heart.
Yeah.
I mean, but that's what people want, I know, right? Like we want more group stuff. They just kind of
We do want more group stuff.
They like implement it weirdly though. Sort of like how like with the new dungeon content, only the boss room is instanced, but everything else you can be griefed on, which is really weird,
I think that's cool. Well, we can get into that, but yeah, I mean, I like that though.
Yeah.
I just think they need more content in this game where you're actually feeling your progress. Like right now, the only way to feel your progress is to count how much trash per hour you get and see if it goes up. If they had, we've been talking about an infinite dungeon for years now. Time trials would be another way of doing that. Something where like I can perform better than I previously performed and feel like, hey, I'm actually progressing in the game. I'm actually stronger now. I'm actually better now. Like whatever. Some measurable way of doing that, and then leaderboards tied to that, so that it's a community thing, and so that everybody can see who's the best, and so it becomes a competitive thing. And like, you can compete against yourself, or you can compete against other people.
Yeah.
It's such low hanging fruit. I don't know.
You still
Every
got
week.
me on the infinite tower type thing where like you keep going on levels and levels and then there's like rankings for that. Like that seems like low hanging
every
fruit, right?
every other game has that shit now. I don't know. It does seem like low hanging fruit.
Yeah. And I mean, it's like that. It's like you just make that tower and it resets on the season, which they'll eventually do again, right? Like that would be That'd be super easy. Like then every season,
Yeah.
everybody's like, "Let's race to level 100. Who's gonna do it first?" And or whatever it is, you know.
Yeah, and like every mobile game has something like this, and it's weird to me that BDO only learns like the tedious, like toxic mechanics from mobile games, and doesn't learn like the actual, addictive, like good parts of mobile games that are fun. They just only learn the shitty parts that are like chores, and then they add that into the game. But
Yeah.
I don't know.
I hope they move away from like at some point they have to have diminishing returns. Like I understand they want to do like the weekly barrier boss because it's like that means we can guarantee on like they'll have content for the next 5 weeks and then we can release something else that will take a weekly and then that'll be good for the next 2 months. And like I understand that from like a planning standpoint, but they can do the same planning by say the average player plays this amount, so the average player will take 5 weeks, and I think they can still accomplish the same thing without the extra need of an arbitrary weekly timer. You can still bake in it taking a week on average per player, and it's fine if your hardcore players like. I think that's what they're afraid of. I think they're also afraid of like the hardcore players getting it done in like a day and then be like, what's next? And like, yeah, that's gonna happen, but that's fine.
But that's why you just make the time trial a continuous activity, right? Like that's such an easy thing to solve. Like from a game design perspective, that's why it's so frustrating that we have to kind of like say this every week. But that's such an easy problem to solve. Instead of making it time gated, literally just make a leaderboard that shows who's the fastest. Boom, there's your veteran content. Like give whoever's in the top 5, every month like a cool title or something. Or
you get
like a trophy they could put in their fucking house. Like, yeah, like it doesn't have to be Cron Stones, doesn't have to be a monetary reward, but give them some sort of cosmetic reward, even if it's just like a badge over their head for that month, like something that they can compete over, and veteran players will go for that. And then you don't have to time gate it. You don't have to put these artificial restrictions into the game. You can make people want to repeat the content by making the repeatable process of the content fun instead of chore-like.
Like the insignia thing from
I digress.
Yeah, I agree. Like they need something like that for sure.
And they've kind of like set up this. They've like gotten themselves so bogged down over like not releasing group content for years that it's gonna be hard for them to get it out in a sense where people can't insta complete it, right? Because like people have so much gear nowadays, and like they can't really release like with the dungeon system, right? Like obviously people are gonna be able to complete it really easy at first. But I don't think that's a reason they shouldn't release more, right? Like you got to build on something. They got to start somewhere.
I kind of would like them to just look at things that are already successful in our games at this point. They're like popular multiplayer mechanics and just copy one that's really successful, paste it into BDO, and then try to be creative after that. Because that way we'll at least have something good in BDO, hopefully,
Yeah. Well, do you want to talk about the belt cups?
Yeah, there's 2 new belt cups. They're out. There's a yellow and blue cup. The blue cup is 6 DR, and the yellow cup for the belt is 3 AP. We talked about
which one you got to go.
I think we talked about this a little bit like a week or 2 ago, but
yeah,
I think the AP on the belt is a little too low. For the to be enticing. Maybe for an evasion build, because evasion build doesn't really need the DR as much. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I would say an evasion build needs the DR more. Yeah, I think that I don't know. It's kind of they're both such small values. It's not really doesn't really feel like that big of a deal either way. Even like 100 HP on the on another accessory feels a lot bigger than 6 DR or 3 AP. So I kind of feel like this one's not that big of a deal. I'm honestly not sure which one I'll go for.
Honestly, I think I'm just gonna go for the AP just because for the DP you got to grind the shitty water spots, and so then you take into the account that you lose 5 hours of grinding that you could be at Orcs or Monastery. And I don't think either of them will have that massive of an impact anyway. So I think I'm just gonna go for the AP, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, it has to grind
so
faster.
AP is Monastery, Orcs, and what about? Can you do like Castle Ruins?
Yep.
I'm looking at the list right now.
Yep.
Yeah, you need fire and water. So that's ultra imps.
Whereas for the water one, you need to do the altar imps is the one that most people have been going for. Apparently, you can get them in 5 hours. You can get the water fragments you need in 5 hours, or you have to do Fogans or Nagas, right?
Mm-hmm.
Fogans is pretty comfy though, dude. I kind of like it. I wish it was more money, but it's actually a pretty comfy like lower AP spot.
I do like the overall like feel of Fogans. I wish there was more mobs, which like that would give you more of the loot. I just feel like everything's like too spread out.
Oh, I like it. I think it has really good density.
Yeah,
it's just so cozy. I was grinding there on my Sage with Oasis weapons before I was deciding to tag, and it was super cozy.
Maybe I'm in the wrong rotation. I've tried 2 different rotations so far, and I didn't like either one.
It can be a bit hard to get mobs once you have an Elvia weapon because you just absolutely blast those packs so quick.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Yeah, like Fogans is pretty nice. Like it ends up like even if you don't have the best gear, you can still crank out 200 and something mil there.
Yeah, it's still decent money even with like 260, 270 AP.
I kind of wish what they do is remove this Master Magic from all grind spots and give Black Spirit Claw to the blue grind spots. That way, it kind of would increase its income by a little bit and compensate for that lack. I think that'd be.
You can't nerf
nice.
pirates again, bro.
Oh, pirates right now it's like 100 mil an hour. I went there the other day. It's insane, actually. You get M entrants, which are like 11 mil, and then you get blue coral earrings, which are like 11 mil, and then you
Bring back pirates.
Yeah.
Seasonal drops at pirates, dude.
Holy shit.
Saucons and pirates are like 150 mil on seasons right now. They're actually like not particularly good.
It's kind of a tangent, but have we heard anything about the next season yet? Are we kind of speculating they might say something about that in Idle Ball? Is that kind of where that news is coming from?
Because
I'd imagine so.
Because they've always released a new class with a season, and then the link was that they're supposedly going to be doing a new class announcement at Idle Ball according to their earning report. So a lot of people are thinking, well, if they're doing a new class, that probably means new season, and so we'll probably hear about both of those at the same time, and that would kind of make sense a little bit. And a lot of people, would be hyped up to hear how they're reworking seasons to be, more enjoyable.
And in the dungeon teaser, they said that the easy or the regular difficulty is made for people wearing Tuvala and Narchillin. So I just kind of figure like they wouldn't have said anything about it if they never plan to introduce it again,
Yeah.
That's just kind of like a speculation from
either
a
that.
Point of view.
The other possibility is that the person who wrote that doesn't know that they stopped doing seasons.
That too. Yeah.
It's 50-50 Pearl Abyss, 50-50.
It's very possible.
I still feel like they should remove Narchillin gear, but they should add the Tuvala gear to Olvia servers. And that way, if you're coming back to the game after a month, or if you make a new account, you can just do that and get free gear. I feel like it teaches you much more about like how to get gear in the game than the Narchillin. Like Narchillin gear, it's like here's all this free gear. Now figure out how to play the game.
Yeah, definitely. They should just have you rapidly upgrade your gear instead of skip upgrading your gear. That's a much different experience, and one of them is a lot more satisfying and actually teaches you what to do, and the other one just skips content. So it's kind of weird.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I'm seeing some new. What is this new hunting content that I'm seeing?
Well, they added 2 new hunting mobs, more hunting titles. It's apparently that's the entire goal of all these hunting monsters is they add 1 new hunting monster so you can go hunt the title. I don't.
It's just titles.
I don't understand this at all. I feel like
hunting content. Titles.
So hunting is officially just a fucking RP life skill. They have no intention of ever making it viable. It's just for titles.
Always has been.
I feel
sweet
astronaut meme.
I feel like they have no idea about their community at all. Like how is that even considered an update? Like that's like a bitch slap to the people who like hunting. It's like, oh, you want some hunting content? I give them some titles. I don't know. It's
sad, bro.
I mean, I'm sure there's somebody who likes going out and getting these, but I mean, I don't know. Is the process of finding these rare monsters really that interesting? Like, do they have like RNG spawn point? I don't even know what goes into this. Like, if there was some interesting mini game where you had to like track the mobs and like there were rare spawns and you finding and killing them was actually an accomplishment and you got a title for it, I guess I could see that being like a cool side game thing. But man, if you want to make hunting,
Well,
you know, fun, then start by making it good.
yeah,
Maybe
I feel like this would be we'd be a lot less mad about this if hunting actually had a lot of viable solutions right now. Right? If there was like feather wolves and hunting deer and hunting like all these different animals, like and they were all viable for making good money per hour, I feel like people would be a lot less upset about like, oh, we added this one in for title hunting. Like you'd be like, okay, whatever, maybe I'll try that out when I'm bored, you know?
Dude, I don't know. I was getting to the point where I was caring a little less and less about silver per hour, but then Hadoom came out, and it's like you could just goof around at orcs without much effort, making 300 mil with blue scrolls on a bad hour. So it's like it makes everything else like, oh, I guess I could go hunt, and if I min max everything and I have maxed out hunting mastery, I can make 200 mils. Yay! It's kind of like fuck, dude.
Yeah, it makes you feel like you're really just role playing and wasting your time if you are doing anything other than grinding.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, big time for sure. So we'll see. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think today it's like they've been doing hunting content like almost every couple weeks, so there's got to be like one dude who's like, this is your job to do it. But I feel like
Yeah, I think there's some like junior dev who, it's like he's been at the company for like 3 or 4 months and like this is what he's learned to do so far. And there's 500 people who work on the game and this is his little thing. And he just, pumps out a few titles every couple weeks.
Unpaid intern.
Yeah, it's something very structurally weird about what's going on.
yeah, I feel like they need to go in and figure out like, okay, intern guy, like thanks for helping us out. This is how we need to change it. Like he's been doing several months of a good job of making these titles, right? Time to level up your game.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Like when the company gets that big, I'm just imagining like it's sort of like how they have the same problem with the customer service reps. Like remember how, especially in the early days, like Kakao would hire these GMs who would just know nothing about the game, and it's like they'd put them through a month of training or whatever, presumably, but you can't put them through 6 months of training, and like a couple weeks, 2 weeks or 4 weeks or whatever it was, is just not enough to really understand the game. So unless you're hiring people who are already players, that's not just customer service, that's game devs as well. Unless you're hiring people who are already fans of BDO to develop content, like who are these 500 people that they're hiring? Probably 90% of them are not BDO players. They're just kind of doing this on the fly and getting these vague instructions about like, oh, we need more hunting content. And they're like, oh, okay, well, in this other game I play, I really like going for titles, so I'm going to add titles for hunting. Like, I just don't think it's BDO players that are making this content.
Yeah,
It would be really weird to like get thrown into a BDO GM job with like never playing BDO, because the game is so like vast and it's such a niche like in the MMO space. Now that I think about it,
but I mean, at the end of the day, like if this is going to the patch note, there's a lead designer who's like giving it the green light. Like I feel like at some point he just needs to go over to say like, hey, you've been doing a good job. We need to make more spots like feather wolves for hunting that are around like 200 to 300 mil an hour or something like that, And like,
yeah, or give it some kind of risk versus reward mechanic where there's like an area where it's actually difficult and you need to dodge the mobs, but if you do it properly and you kill them, then it's super good money.
I've just keeping it real simple. My expectations right now are basically nothing. So anything better than hunting titles are better is good.
I mean, they could also just spend like literally 2 weeks polishing the sniper game. It's 95% of the way there. They literally just need to spend 2 weeks polishing it, and that could be a very good side area of the game, just like bartering that people would get super into. That could have its own systems and its own challenges and its own rewards. But everything in this game, it's always 5% away from being done, man.
Speaking of that, they already have a sniper bear spot that's south of Olvia and a sniper lion spot that's like that's by Valencia. That's on the global labs for the past like year and a half. That
That
never
is
made
on
it.
Korea. They already released it in Korea.
Yeah, it just hasn't hit us.
Mhm.
So it's like I don't know.
Let's just
Kinda
keep
weird.
adding more and more unfinished content instead of doing the 2 weeks of work to finish what we already have. Like, let's spend 6 months doing unfinished content instead of 2 weeks of finished content. Like, I don't know, bro. It's not that hard to make hunting fun, man.
No, it's really close. Like, they need to make it when the Feather Wolf attacks you, your character does go blah, 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 and that would be probably the biggest thing. And then they need to make the barrel roll go about 50% farther. And then I think that and some good money per hour spots is about it. Like I don't know, some challenging stuff would be nice as well for like some boss content or like predators type thing.
Hey, dude, I already mentally prepared myself for why hunting has to be bad months ago. Okay, it's okay. They can put their attention elsewhere.
Well, what are these spirit crystals that you mentioned? I'm not seeing those.
Oh, so spirit crystals are now like 2 million apiece.
Oh, the like the ones that drop from polys that you grind for Vel dust.
Yeah,
Vel
they're like-
repair?
they're
Oh,
like
you're
2
talking
million
about the
apiece.
ones that are already in. Okay, I thought
Yeah,
you were saying
shit's
they were new
expensive,
spirit
dude.
crystals.
Yep, they've skyrocketed in price. They're the max
We're
price
talking
on them
about
is
spirit stones.
life spirit
Yeah.
stones. Yeah, life spirit.
Okay.
Their
So
max
you're
price
trying
on
to,
them is
you're flexing, basically.
yeah. Well, I mean, it's very important people realize they need to buy them now as soon as possible because I definitely
Yeah,
don't have
before they go down again.
6,000 to
Or
sell.
before they go up even more. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Yeah, they definitely need to buy now before it goes up even
Yes.
further, just like AMC's, Doc.
yep, exactly. But the max price is
Yeah, okay.
2.7, and they are sold out on every other server other than NAEU. So it's I do think that it is only a matter of time until they sell out. I do think that on NAEU it's not going to be as like quick. I think a lot of people right now are panic buying it, and like although I would love people to continue panic buying, if a new class comes out, they're going to go back down to minimum price probably, and then they'll go back up. They'll obviously continue going. They'll go back up to 2 million again, but it'll take a long time for that to happen. So
I think we're going to get a new season and a new class in a month or less, and these are going to crash right back down. But I could be wrong.
Well,
when
what's
is Huddle Ball?
what's happened every
the 19th.
Yeah.
Saturday the 19th.
and the class would come out maybe
Okay,
2 weeks
so
from
2
then?
weeks after that.
Yeah.
2 weeks after that, we're going to have a new season and a new class, and these are going to plummet to min price. But until then, bye to the moon.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the like overall, like if you look at what happened with Nova coming out, right before Nova came out, the Spirit Crystals barely sold out, and before that, they when Hashin came out, they almost sold out before he came out, and then now with Sage, they have sold out and got up to 2 million. So I think every time we're just going to see them crash the minimum, then they're going to go back up. And then they're going to crash the minimum again and back up, and eventually they'll just stop crashing all the way back down. And then, I think like
I don't think so, man. I think Sage was a very unique situation because you had the combination of no new season and the free XP swap scrolls. So half the people who tried Sage didn't even go to polys like they normally would have. They just used the free coupon and transferred XP from like their DK or something that they hadn't played since 2017.
Guilty.
And they didn't have to grind. That's exactly what I did. I never grind. I grinded like 2 hours of skill points on my Sage, and it was mainly just so I could kill people at Poly's Forest while I was learning PvP on that class. Like so many people, Sage release was so much different than other class releases. If they actually do a fresh season or a fresh class with no coupon, then these things are going to plummet. And if they do both of those things, yeah, it's going to have a massive impact compared to Sage.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I could see that. That's not really what I was thinking about, but I guess I could see that. I mean, I'm still underneath the fact they sold out on all other servers, despite there being season after season after season after season. Like, this makes me think that it will eventually happen to us. And there used to be 50,000 of them on our marketplace, and now there's 2 million apiece. So maybe that'll happen. I mean, maybe it's possible that seasons will keep the price low. I feel like over time,
50,000 spirit stones is like, I don't know. That's probably like what, 2 hours of seasons. Like if season, like that's so many of these are going to drop if there's a fresh season and people go back to polys.
Do either of you know
Now,
why
if
hards
people
are
start
perma-sold
leveling
out?
it, like, oh, that I don't know about.
wait, what about Hards you said?
Hards have been perma sold out for
Yeah, there's like 8,000
Like-
pre-orders on them.
for like 2 weeks now or some shit.
Well,
It's annoying.
they've been going up in
my.
price for a long time, ever since Hadoom came out, because people have been getting for Hadoom, like for the Black Star stuff. The main thing that I think is causing this is because you can't get enough energy to gather, so all people who used to gather all day, they've now quit, and the only thing that's been supplying Hards to marketplace is the Oasis event and the Shakti chest. So I feel like right now
even
there's
if you,
Go ahead.
yeah, I mean, even if you have energy, like who the fuck cares about gathering when you can just go to Red Orcs and make 30% more silver per hour and not have to spend any energy on it.
Well, for me, it's like I like going out and fishing. Like that's or not fishing. I mean, going out and gathering. Like I would like to do that. It's just the fact that I can't do that. Like right now, I run out of energy after like 2.5 to 3 hours, unless you buy pay to win energy pots. And so with running out of energy, like when I go out and kill monsters, I never run out of energy. Right? I can just do that 10 hours a day, but I can't gather 10 hours a day. And that's kind of like where why I like people to stop doing it. So I feel like that's had an impact on the Hards in the economy. But that's been like, I feel like this has been a long time coming, because we've had the amount of money we can make now compared to when the Central Marketplace originally came out. We almost make 3 times the amount of money on average now, and so that would naturally the Hards would triple in price. I feel like that's only kind of like only now that we're kind of seeing that.
Like gathering
just
is
can't
still
be-
crazy good because SAP has been max price for a couple days. Kaffir's hit 3 mil like what 3 days ago, and then it's
Yeah.
back to like 2.89 now. It's like, the
The
money
profit-
is still there.
Crazy
but
good.
The
Is
profit-
it crazy good?
Yeah,
Not
It-
crazy
it's-
good, but it's decent.
It's
right?
300 mil an hour.
decent.
That's good. 300 mil an
Like,
hour
it's
is
300
good.
mil an hour. Right?
Like the reason
If
people
you have the gear.
Yeah, but it only costs to grind. The grind in Hadoom, the gear that you need is like 200 to 250 billion. But the
Yeah,
gear
but
you
people
need,
want to upgrade their combat gear because they use it for PvP and they use it for other parts of the game. Like you have to be like real life skilling has to be your main priority in order for it to make sense for you to put more money into your life skill gear than your
Yeah, but there's a lot of people.
grinding gear.
There's a lot of people who like
Most
doing
people-
that.
Not anymore, man. I think the demographics in the game have changed a lot. I think
But you gotta
most
say
people are
why.
here for the combat and the grinding, and the life skilling is kind of dead. It's kind of neglected.
It's not like it's not the income is not the problem. It's not the desire of the players is the problem. It's that I can't do it. Like, would you rather do an activity for 2.5 hours a day, or would you like to do it, grinding for as long as you want per day? Like,
I don't have that problem. My problem with gathering is I don't find it rewarding or fun. And I used to. That used to be all I do in this game was fucking gathering and workshops and crafting and shit. That used to be all I did all day long. There's months and months where I just didn't kill a single mob other than to gather it. Now it's the complete opposite, man. I cannot be fucked to gather. All my characters sit at max energy. I don't even bother to bottle it. Like, it's just not rewarding compared to grinding.
I like rewarding for what? Money per hour? It's really good money per hour.
It's okay.
It's good.
hour.
It's just the
okay
problem
money
thing
per
is
hour.
that like
and it's
the
not
wheel-
exciting. Like there's no jackpot. Like you used to feel when Monos first came out and you were getting a bunch of life gems and you were pumping your Monos gear. That was exciting. But now that everyone's soft capped at try, or some people even have Monos accessories, like what the fuck are you gonna do? Like that's
The
so
wheel's
much
already been
time.
invented, right?
Yeah, there's
Everything's been
nothing-
figured out.
You're not going to make any progress. You're not moving forward. You're making the same amount of silver gathering that you did 6 months ago, and like there's no lottery drop. There's no like super sick. You can't get like a duo gold accessory from gather. Like there's no distortion earring that drops. Like it's just not. They just haven't done anything with it, man. For 2 years, they just haven't done anything with gathering.
Even
It's
if they
old
did like
fucking
in
content. It's-
like an infinite energy pot or some shit, something that's like abysmally hard to get, but it gives you something to go for, and you get like different pieces from
Yeah,
doing
just-
different shit. Anything, right?
I understand the idea of doesn't have new content, thus I don't want to try it. But like I think the first step is just get the low hanging fruit, right? Like make it first where I can do it all day long, like I can with any other thing in the game, right? And then once that is done, then make it, add new content to it. But it's not as hard. It's like just make it where I can get, more energy from other things in the game, whether that be furniture buffs or a new perfume or like buff villa invitation for energy. Like that's the first step. Is when I can get energy, then there will be some people who just go out and gather meat all day and sell it to the marketplace for 350 mil an hour. Because like gathering meat, like deer meats right now is like 10,000. Like that's insane that you can do that. And on top of getting like, what is it? You get like 16,000 an hour. Like that's insane. So if it's like first
I
fix
agree
energy.
with you that the energy thing is antiquated. The energy system is definitely outdated, and like it's unclear what purpose it even serves at this point. If you're gonna prevent people from doing something with an energy system, it needs to be because that part of the game is so good that you have to limit the amount of time people can spend on it.
Right.
Right now, gathering is not so good that you need to limit the amount of time people spend on it. So if we're gonna continue having energy costs, which I don't even like, it doesn't even really make sense anymore. But if we're going to have that, then gathering needs a huge buff. Like it needs to be better than grinding until you run out of energy, and then you go back to grinding because you're out of energy.
Mhm.
Otherwise, if
Yeah.
it's not going to be like that, then get rid of energy altogether. Make it just revamp it. Make it make it a night vendor currency or something. Make it something else entirely. They just don't know what they're doing with that system. It's something from 2016 that made sense back then that doesn't make sense anymore. And they have some half-ass attempt to monetize it in the cash shop, which I doubt anyone actually buys because who the fuck cares? It's just another part of the game that's neglected, that they're not putting any thought or work into. They're just too busy making hunting titles.
Yeah, I think that honestly, you hit on the nail on the head on so many of those different topics there. I feel like
at minimal, I think they should at least lower the time it takes to recover energy. Like if they're not going to add anything else to it or buff it in any kind of way, lowering how much time it takes you to recover energy. Like 3 minutes is too long, right?
So like for me, like I feel like it'd be nice to see one or two things: either fix the energy economy, or like Moreland said, fix the profit per hour economy, right? So you either have one or two things: either it's limited and it's better profit per hour, or it's unlimited but it's around the same money per hour as other things like grinding. And like I think a good point to this is like all the meat's sold out in the marketplace. If they triple the price of all the meat in the marketplace, then option number 2 automatically happens. Everybody, it becomes crazy profit per hour, but you can't do it all day, and that problem kind of solve itself. Then the market would self-balance. That's one thing I've been thinking is like, do you think it's about time for them in the marketplace to triple the maximum price on all items again?
I mean, the history of the max price and hards and sharps in this game is very, very strange. Do you guys remember what those were worth when they first came out?
More than they are today.
Right? Like 6.2 mil, 6.3 mil?
7.2 mil for
Yep.
sharps.
Yeah, 7.2. Yeah.
I think hards were like 4.8 or something like
They're
that.
double what they were
And that
today.
was back. Yeah, but that was back. If you consider what that was worth back then, bro, 7.2 mil back then was like 100 mil now. Like
It was a lot.
per
It's crazy.
per one sharp. Every time you were gathering and you got a sharp, it was rewarding. You felt something, like it was fucking cool. You wanted to gather all day long. Like people would gather on their alts and like, sleep in a bed overnight to regain energy instead of fishing. Like it was a system that made sense.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's just been neglected for like literal years, man. Like it's not like they're a few months behind. Like it's been years that they haven't done anything with it. You should be, when you're out gathering, you should get a chance to gather like fucking 10 Kafirs at once or something. Like, and the prices don't make any sense either. Like they nerfed the price all the way back in 2016. They nerfed the price from 7.2 down to 4 point something, and then again down to 3.6. And it's like,
On console, aren't they higher? They're still higher on console, aren't they? Oddly enough.
I don't know. I don't know what they are on console, but just all of it makes no sense. All of
Yeah.
it doesn't even begin to make sense. And
You know, you bring up a good point there. Like, why don't we have like sharps be like the new rare drop, where you get like you might be gathering and you get 10 sharps at the same time, or you get, you know, rare drop would be like 50 sharps at the same time, but it's like crazy rare, and it'd be like
Yeah.
once a month to get like 100 sharps at the same time. You'd be like, oh, blah, blah, blah. I made some money, boys. And like every time you get that shear animation, you wouldn't know exactly how much you got. Maybe you made 10 mil, maybe you made a billion silver in sharps. And I feel like that kind of, I definitely feel like that cheering animation doesn't feel good right now in gathering for sure. Like
no,
for
you
sure.
completely ignore it. Yeah.
Do
Yeah,
you guys
to
think they
make it
should
exciting
like loosen the reins on market caps a little bit? Right, like with that, because again, if
Yeah.
the prices are right for anything, then it will become worth doing it. Because if people don't do it, then the price will go up in theory, right? So like maybe it's like a market cap problem at this point.
I mean, I think. Hold on, there's a plane flying over my head. Someone else go.
I do think that increasing marketplace caps will improve a lot of parts of the game, because it allows the players to determine the fun versus worth equation. Because some people just care only about profit per hour, and they'll go out and deep sea dive for Magoria mills for an entire year, even if it's the most boring content in the entire game. And so that would be really good profit, because there's a lot of people who are like, I don't want to do that because that is so boring. And so, you know, like Biohack is a good example with enhancing. A lot of people don't want to do enhancing for profit because, one, it's complicated, two, it's hard, it's expensive. And so he does that, and he makes a lot of money doing that because it's a thing that a lot of players don't want to do in the game. And I feel like, you know, when you have marketplace caps higher, it allows the players to determine, you know, the not fun activities are more profitable, and the more fun activities are less profitable. And it kind of all bounces out, and then, you know, the players overall can be happy with that because, you know, it is the proper worth.
Yeah, I mean, it just I don't know what purpose the market caps serve at this point. It's sort of just artificially funnels wealth from life skillers to grinders, because essentially what's happening when you look at like hard sharps and Caphras, those are items that are being sold by gatherers that are being purchased by grinders. And so all you're doing by capping the price of those items is you're taking money from gatherers and you're giving it to grinders. Is that really a transfer of wealth that we need to be happening in the current year? Like, is gathering really in such an extraordinary state that we need to subsidize grinders with gatherer cash? Like, if anything, it should be the other way around. Yeah, lift the caps on all that shit. Make it go 10 times higher if people are willing to pay it. I mean, the reality is these things won't go that high. If they lifted the caps on some of these items, they might go up by 30 to 50%. They wouldn't even double, but it would still be, you know, grinders would have to pay a little bit more, and gatherers would make a little bit more, and the economy would figure that out. Like the free market would figure out the difference. And if gathering became super good, then more people would do it, and the price would go down. Like, you don't have to restrict it in this way anymore.
Yeah, I
Especially
agree.
with like Hadoom being virtually pure liquid silver, right? Like hardly anything from Hadoom is even affected by market tax. It's almost pure liquid silver. So like I don't see the issue with raising some of the prices for spots that actually provide something to the economy other than like BMCs and Blackstones. I mean, it just kind of makes sense, kind of in my mind, I guess.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of problems with life scaling, because there's also like, you know, the hards and sharps, and like there's the cheering animations, and like how you acquire fruits of like Crimson Flame, Fruit of Nature, like traces, like I feel like there's just so many different issues with like Black Gem fragments as well, like hunting and versus gathering for hunting, you know, for the same meat. I feel like there's like so many different issues in there. I feel like they just need to start tackling a few, like have like a small team that's tackling a few of these issues as like the player base is having, and then move on as time goes on, you know, to like bigger issues. Because there's just so many at this point that, you know, it's almost gives players an excuse to never want to even think about it, you know, which is the opposite of what really you want players to do. You want players to think about it and like get excited about the prices being fair on the marketplace, and you know, you want to get, you know, you want to have those cheering animations that make sense and stuff, and you want hunting to have like viable rotations. like this is so many different issues. They need to start working on something so that the player base can kind of feel like hopeful for it again. Because I feel like a lot of people have lost hope for hunting and life's gonna be good and gathering.
I would really like to see some now that we talk about it, some kind of like some of the reins being slightly pulled back on some market caps, even to like age old shit that's been stupid capped for so long, like milk.
Yeah,
Stuff that's been talked about for years now, right?
they should either
we should think about what the purpose of these caps are, because some of them you could imagine why they're there, but some of them just seem completely nonsensical.
I can understand the cap on like milk, but I feel like for items that you just want permacapped like that, you should just remove them from the marketplace because there's no purpose other than a few people who are willing to wait stubbornly for their pre-order to make a little extra cash. And if you remove milk from the marketplace, then that would have forced anybody to acquire it themselves, and that process would make the overall cooking profit greater for the meals that required milk, because anybody who got it would have to go through the effort. And since there'd be less people willing to do that, the profit of like cooking a Caltheon meal would go up, or like a Medea meal or Belnos meal, whatever,
Well, the price cap for milk is really a buff to people who have scripts that run on the mobile markets. It's very good for them. I'm not sure what other purpose it serves beyond that.
I don't know how that works. Should we elaborate or no?
Neither do the devs.
Speaking of marketplace stuff, pin weapons got disabled. So all pin Zarka, Offentet, Nuver, Kudum, Dragon Slayer, Dandy, and obviously Blackstar, and
even Dragon Slayer.
I think Dragon Slayer got it.
Oh man.
Pin Blackstar and Tap Blackstar all got disabled. And can't be sold to the marketplace. If there's one up there, I think you can buy it, but you can't list one anymore. And this is because apparently the Korean player base found out RMT was a thing, and that RMT was happening for Pin Blackstars. I mean, this has been happening on NA. Literally since the
They're so
came
far
out.
Behind, bro.
Like, literally, there was like Zerker that went around making bot accounts and was just like, "I have 5 Pin Blackstars. Which one do you want to buy?" Like that's been a thing for years, but apparently Korean players protested and they listened, and that's why all turned off.
Bro, people have literally been playing. All right, people used to trade costumes for you to list a base dandy back in the day. Like RMT's been a thing forever. I don't see how they're just now catching on. It's crazy.
I'm very, very confused by this. So are we sure that it's because of RMT? Have they
100%
something along those lines?
It's 100% because the Korean player base. The biggest headline for the Korean player base was not the new dungeon. It was the RMT is rampant in BDO. It was like a bigger topic than that.
Like, where's that coming from?
Well, I mean, all the Korean streamers had it, and there was like about 100 to 200 people in every single Caltheon server, every single or Caltheon city, every single Velia city. They're all the streaming. It's very, very out there on the internet.
The Korean streamers were upset that people were RMTing Pen Blackstars?
Not just the Korean streamers. I don't know who started the movement, so to speak, but it was on every single Korean streamer was at one of these areas, protesting it. So I don't really. I'm just surprised that the developers have maybe listened, because we had literally.
How are they going to address it? I don't know how you would even police someone.
Bro, we literally had people high profile, popular people in the community paying hundreds of dollars a week for sea monster payouts, and they just now want to say something about RMT.
We have partnered BDO streamers RMTing their Pen Blackstars and not even
right
about it.
Yep.
I don't know. I'm very confused by this whole thing.
The way to prevent RMT for the items is actually pretty simple. You just make it the price high enough in the marketplace where there's always one listed. You just make it you design the marketplace where there's almost always one listed, and when you do that, it prevents RMT from happening. Because
you allow the item to be sold for what it's actually worth, right?
Yeah.
And then that gets RMT.
Because there's one problem right now where items have been decreasing in value, even though there is pre-orders on it. If you look at Pin Blackstar always has pre-orders on it, and there's several times here over the last 3 months where the price has dipped, even though people have max pre-orders, and it's some type of bug there. But I mean, even one step farther is like if there were pin Black Stars on the marketplace, then no one's going to pay anybody else for a pin Black Star that's sitting on the marketplace. So I feel like that's something they need to readjust in like the coding for the marketplace, where it's like you make sure that there's always one item sitting in the marketplace, and if there's not, then you increase the price pretty quickly so that one does get up there.
Yeah, I mean, they don't have to make it so there's always one sitting, but they could just make it like the price of pin accessories now, where they actually reflect the value of the item, right? Just uncap it and keep. They don't have to change their algorithm. They just have to raise the cap so that the market can move in that direction like it naturally would.
Here's an example of why that doesn't entirely work. Let's say like there's one Pry Fallen God on the marketplace right now. Let's say an RMTer buys that, and then he's like, I'll sell it to the marketplace because there's none in the marketplace. I'll sell you one if it's the proper value, but I'll sell you, I'm buying all the Pry Fallen Gods, and if you want one, you have to pay me $100. And so basically, even though it's the proper price in the marketplace, the economy can't adjust properly because he can buy them with his bot accounts and then force people to buy them from him.
I don't think that's happening. I don't think people are buying out the market. I think the price is like when an item is completely sold out for a long period of time, that's because the price is not reflecting the actual value. People will continue to list the item as long as it's worth listing. You can see this with pin accessories. Really, the only items that this doesn't work for are pin Black Star, Deboreka necklace, and maybe some of the higher tier Fallen Gods. Like, we'll definitely, Tet and Pin and probably Try as well. But honestly, like the Pry and Duo Fallen Gods, I think the market prices for those are fine. I don't think you could really do anything to RMT or manipulate those. All they have to do is get rid of the artificial cap, and
well, it's the combination with bot accounts. So that's what the issue is there.
Yeah, but I mean, under your system, like all you have to do is just like keep an item sold out, and the price goes up forever. I mean, that's just a different RMT transfer, because now you can use it to transfer silver instead of transferring items. So that's a whole different problem. I don't know. I just think that's overly convoluted. All they have to do is raise the cap on the items, and people can't RMT them anymore.
I think, like you said, I think raising the cap would be a huge step in the correct direction. It would prevent the majority of the RMT that's happening right now.
Some of the caps are just stupid as well, though. Because, like, for example, the cap on Pin Manos accessories is like 50 bill when it costs like 300 to make one. Like, that's kind of outdated. And I don't even know how they even got to that math anyway.
Outdated. It was the first day it was already outdated is another statement. It's just nonsensical is what it is. But I think they are just terrified of like someone actually transferring the full value of something like a pin. But I mean, the problem is, like, even if you're not transferring that amount of silver to someone, you're transferring an item that's worth that amount of silver. So what's the it's not that big of a difference. Either way, it's a weird broken exchange of wealth. So I'm very surprised to hear that this is about RMT. What exactly are they gonna do to prevent people from RMTing Pin Black Star? Like, there is no out of game solution to that. There's no, like, they can't have GMs monitor. Like, how would they know? How would they know why or when someone is posting a Pin Black Star? That, like, unless they have some sort of out of game evidence that's tying people.
I think they're looking for a way to prevent it, not a way to punish people. Like, maybe there's like an obvious case or two where you can get somebody. I feel like a way to prevent future RMT is like their goal, because I don't think there's any way to catch every single person who's like, hey, I made this with my pin or with my hammer, right? And then when I made it with my hammer, I'm going to sell it to you for some profit, right? I don't think they're going to catch those guys. It's just there's no way of proving it.
Right, like, what are you gonna do? Set like an arbitrary window of time where if someone buys a Pin Black Star too quickly after it gets listed, then you punish them for RMT? Like, that makes no sense whatsoever.
But see, the weird thing about it though is they even like made it so you can't list like Tet Black Stars. Like, if you look at the Tet Black Star market, like weapons, they're all gone because you can't list them right now. So like it's like I don't even know if it's just specifically Pin Black Stars or it's just
the Pin Black Star
items in general, right?
For Korea, what happened was the Pin Black Stars were being RMT'd, and there was some like very obvious case where someone was bragging about it, or like, I don't know, got caught on a website or something. And that was what it was about. And I think as a repercussion of that, they also wanted to double check, all the pin weapons. And so pin weapons would include TET Black Stars because they're kind of like close-ish. So
and the only thing I can think is that someone was like botting massive amounts of wealth and then buying TET Black Stars and cronning them to pin.
Yeah, I mean that's what was happening before on NA. They had the Zerker and Sakurai. He was grinding about 10 to 20 billion a day with his bot, and then he would just every couple days he would just cron and make some pin Black Stars. Those then he got listed, he would buy them, and then that's how he was. He was just had a monopoly on the marketplace.
It's just so like this problem literally goes away if you raise the market cap of Pin Black Star from 100 to 150.
Yeah, I mean it does. Yes. It would ensuing that you can ban the bots fast enough.
But I mean, do you think that bots are selling like other items like Pin Ogres? Do you think they're
yeah. Well, I think some. Like definitely, there's
why would they?
Well, maybe not bots, but I'm saying there's definitely an RMT market for it.
Order. You could just put a regular order up for a Pin Ogre. I mean, the last Pin Ogre sold June 3rd. If you're willing to pay 80 bill for a Pin Ogre, you can get a Pin Ogre. You don't have to RMT to do that. So why would a bot be listing those?
There's definitely like a market for RMT because I've had people message me for like, hey, sell me one of your pin accessories. Like I've had people message me that, or I've had people message me like, hey, do you want to buy mine for X amount of dollars?
Doesn't make any sense, dude. Doesn't make any sense.
So
like I'm saying years ago.
I'm saying there is a market for it, but that's not really relevant to the conversation anyway because I feel like that's not as relevant as Pin Black Star is right now. Like Pin Black Star, that's very relevant. I think that's very relevant maybe for like extremely high end items.
Literally, as soon as I hit the Pin Black Star Awakening, someone whispered me and asked to buy it.
Yeah, and
literally.
If you raise the market cap on Pin Black Star, then it becomes like Pin Ogre, where if people want to buy it, they just have to have the amount of silver that it's worth, and then they can buy it. They don't need to RMT it anymore. They don't need to contact someone or offer them real money or anything like that.
Yeah, apparently it's for anything over 12 bill in value was like the thing. Apparently the notice. That was like their arbitrary limit for weapons.
Yeah, I just don't see how in any way they're going to combat this other than by like being less stringent on the caps and just letting the market decide what the true value is. But even I don't know.
Oh, this is interesting. Someone was saying maybe someone has like thousands of alt accounts that had J hammers that they just use to slam TET Black Stars to pin and then RMT those.
I mean, that's definitely a possibility considering how many you can get.
If you were just botting alt accounts and then you got a couple free J hammers on every single alt, and
that's 2,000 J hammers. That's a lot of.
Speaking of J hammers, do you think they're going to give them out again in 2 weeks?
So
at the Heidelberg?
There's a data mine. There's a data mine for a new J hammer for accessories.
Yeah, I know that.
It does not work for apparently
Video Codex,
the Deborka necklace or Deboreka necklace, whatever it is. It apparently does not work for that one, but it works for all others. So interesting idea. I kind of don't like it. I'd rather this than do another Pin Black Star one, and I'd rather cry over that instead of crying over like pin. What would it be? I guess what would you cron for it?
Distos, right?
Disto, yeah, pin Distos. I don't want to have to cry about that too. People are gonna get lucky with that. It's gonna make me mad.
Where'd the data mine come from?
It was on the Korean server in the background. So what's
the source of the data? Like who posted the data mine?
It was on Video Codex and stuff. So it's just the client side files.
It's in the Video Codex. I don't know about the data mine, but
yeah. Well, I mean, Video Codex is all Video Codex is it takes all the client files and then takes them apart and then uploads them to a website. That's all it does, and it has a program to do that. So it's just all when we say data mine, like all that means to me at least is that they download the Korean client and then upload it to the website, and one of the files was this new J Hammer thing. So at the very least, it's something they considered because it managed to get onto Korean client in the background. Whether it comes out or not for Hideout Ball, that's a completely different question. Yeah.
My favorite part about this whole RMT scandal is that Seleth weapons, which have been blatantly being used for RMT wealth transfers for probably close to 2 years now, are not affected at all.
They still aren't even aware of that, even though so many people have told them about the Seleth weapons.
I don't
It's
know
crazy.
how they couldn't know. How could they not know? It's so fucking crazy, dude.
I think it comes down to public outcry again. Like we've seen time and time again, they don't fix anything unless there's a big public outrage about it that gets on Reddit, starts making some stirs. Like if it gets to the point where like an investor can see it, then they start handling it. And like if it's not something an investor can see, then like it's not going to get handled. Because
They still rely a lot on investor money.
I don't know. I mean, they care about it, but I don't know about how much.
I mean, money is money, dude.
True.
These Hammer of Precision, dude. I can't wait to fucking swing this on my disto. Holy shit! I wish I had higher stacks.
Dude, are you ready for all the people coming into your chat? Like, yo, I just one tap pin disto. Do I sell it? Or...
Yeah, I got a pin disto. What did you get?
I honestly, I'm really kind of bitter about this because I already have full pin and I don't have anything else, so I have to buy a TED accessory to use this. So I don't know. I'm thinking about maybe buying like a Tungrad ring or something and just smashing that. I'm not sure.
I mean, it's no risk, right? So then you'd only be losing the tax, right? You'd only be losing the tax of the tech because it's not gonna go boom.
Right, it's gonna downgrade. That's what the problem is. It's gonna go click it. It's gonna downgrade.
Wait, can these downgrade?
Wait, can they downgrade?
I mean, it's just glorified Kronstones, so I would assume that it had the same risk. But I mean, who knows? It's a J Hammer, so maybe they don't have that risk.
Yeah, I didn't look too deep into it. I don't remember.
Events drop an enhancement level when enhancement fails. Yeah, the whole point of this is that it's a free.
Oh yeah, so it doesn't downgrade. Yeah, even better.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess it is this. I guess why do I buy Distortion? I guess buy Distortion.
That's the one to do.
Well, the good thing is I could buy Distortion now. Click it 2 times.
Can you buy distortions? Are those above the? So that's interesting. So you can still buy and sell TET and pin distos, but not weapons?
Yeah, it's just weapons. Any weapon above 10 bill market value.
Yeah. I mean, I get
it's only weapons. It's not distos or even Debreka.
It's literally what people complained about. That's literally what the Korean player base complained about. So that's what they're doing.
It's so nonsensical.
Yeah,
just weapons, dude. It's weird.
The Debreka is even more RMT in a lot of ways. I mean, now there's pre-orders all over it, so I guess maybe not. But
it's harder to RMT Debreka because there's multiple orders on it. But
before there was multiple orders, though, that was just the thing.
I mean, who's RMTing like pin dandies? Those sit on the market all the time. I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe there's some desperate guy. I mean, I guess if there's no pin dandy on the marketplace for your class, then maybe somebody's willing to go pay $50 or $100 to get one listed.
Not, dude. It's so easy to buy a pin. You put up an order, your order's gonna.
I'm just saying. I'm not saying that's what happens. I'm just thinking I'm thinking out loud. Like that's the only logical thing I could think of. Like what else do you think of? I think
you're trying way too hard to apply logic to a scenario that doesn't have any logic.
That's probably true.
I don't think they're using logic, man. I don't know what they're using for all this.
Dude, I'm still blown away though. Like I know there's a whole lot of incompetence, but bro, how do you not understand that RMT has been happening in your game for the past 5 years, and now is your first time like acknowledging it on a grand scale? Like that's so weird. And then you create all these weird market implication where like for a week or two, no one's able to list any weapons above 10 bills. So then like when TET Black Stars were finally recovering, now they're going to get flooded to the market probably from people not being able to list or buy for 2 weeks. So weird how they like go about these things.
Yeah, how long do you think it's going to last for? I think it's going to be. I think it's going to. I mean, it's already gone 3 days now, so I think it's going to be at least until maintenance at this point.
I think they should just disable the market altogether, and everyone should have to play solo self-found.
If they do
This
that, they
man.
have to buff some drop rates. A few of them are fucked.
No Iron Man. Let's go, boys.
Honestly, it would be better in a lot of ways. It really would be better in a lot of ways.
Fresh start server with no marketplace. Let's fucking go, dude.
Well, I guess, how about this? You leave the base enhancing materials on the marketplace so I can make fell stacks.
Gather your own.
Ah! Well, the sharps and hards.
Gather them.
I mean, honestly, it would be pretty interesting if they had a if they had an Iron Man server. Would honestly be
I
pretty
mean,
interesting.
that's kind of what you expected season to be, right? Like sort of like a rush to the start. That's what seasons kind of should have been.
I would
Well,
actually be pretty excited about a pure Iron Man server season, where the people who get max gear first or something.
Dude.
Like that would be pretty pog.
I would grind that so hard. If it was actually, dude, merit-based BDO, like non-catch-up based progression, yeah, I would go play that.
If only,
All right.
dude. If only.
Anyways, what about this new dungeon? Have you guys seen? It's out in Korea, right? What's
Yeah.
the scoop?
All right,
What's the spoilers?
All right, so the spoilers for the dungeon. How much spoilers are we talking here? Can I go full blown spoilers?
No mechanics.
Don't give like the end. If there's like puzzles,
No
don't
puzzle
give it.
mechanics.
But what's the
everything else
impression so far? How,
All right,
are
so
they liking it?
I'll
Is it
give-
actually interesting?
I won't talk about any of the mechanics, so we can avoid that. I think the loot is fair to talk about because that kind of is more like intrinsic motivation, right?
Yeah, loot is fine.
Okay. So there's 4 encounters for it, like a typical raid that you would find in other MMOs. Each one gives you like a Pooterin box, like the exact same thing. The first 3 encounters are base to pry. The final encounter is base to try. So that's maybe like 200 to 400 mil. I don't know what the average would be, something like that. There's 3 weekly quest, and those weekly quests have a chance of dropping an item. That is a new earring. The new earring stats are the exact same as distortion. So, and that's supposed to be like the new item you're supposed to grind for. And so a lot of people are disappointed because they figure like, well, what's the reason I'm going to go and do it week 2 or 3 or whatever? Like that's not really good enough. I'll just go grind my regular grind spot and buy it. The profit per hour, I think, comes down to how good your group is. So that's kind of in the air, with how good your personal group is for doing a dungeon.
I mean, in regards to like per hour, is it something you can just do as much as you want? Are there any limitations on it?
I think the final encounter gives you loot 2 times. So
I mean, could you just
You can do it. You can spam it
again all
over
day?
and over again, but they're split rewards. So there's like these weekly quests where you can get the good rewards twice per week.
Mhm.
Okay. And so is it one of those things where it's worth doing for the weekly quest and then it kind of falls behind grinding outside of that?
Yeah, I think so. I think that will be the case. It's still so new, and they're still working on stuff on it.
Right.
So, but I think the case is you basically do it until you're done with your weekly quest, and then you basically don't do it anymore.
It's basically so the new accessory is basically the same concept between Ogre and Leighton, right? Where like Leighton isn't better than Ogre and Ogre isn't better than Leighton, but they look different and they come from 2 different sources. That's
But
the
what if
main
they have different
concept.
hidden stats, you guys?
Dude, I was thinking when I first saw it, I was like, okay, they came out with a disto that's going to be minus evasion. So if you're DR, you could just run these
Yeah,
new distos,
that's what they should have
right?
been.
But
Oh, that's
Right,
smart.
that's why I was like, it makes sense. But then I looked straight at the translated stats, and it's like, oh, they're both identical.
Bruh,
It was like a missed
imagine-
opportunity.
Oh my god, that's so easy and so smart.
I know.
Yeah, the earring I wanted the polar opposite of distortion. I wanted high accuracy, average AP, and minus evasion. So it's just the pure opposite.
I want an earring that's just like 40 DR and minus 20 AP.
But yeah, I feel like a lot of people are right now they're like, I'm excited. It's like 2 groups. Like people are like, I'm excited to do group content, and then there's another group who's like, this loot isn't what I wanted, so I'm kind of sad about the dungeon. I feel like those are the two different groups in BDO right now, as far as play.
Was the dungeon fun? I mean, is it content? Like, is it cool?
Well, this might be a small spoiler. You basically do questing for the first 2 encounters. So that takes away a lot of fun, especially for your first time, because the questing has to be done your first time, and I think the second time you don't have to do it. So your first time, which is supposed to be the most fun, is actually the least fun, and then after that, it's just repeating the same thing, obviously. So it's
What do you mean? Like you have to R spam? Like what do you mean?
yeah,
questing?
there's R spam questing, and there's like you have to like go. It's like group questing, and there's no waypoints. So it's actually even worse than regular questing, because you have to actually like go find the NPC that's behind the wall over there, and you're like, where's the NPC? It's like your entire group's like. So the mechanics in the dungeon, I think, are good. So that to end on a good note, the mechanics are actually good, and there are mechanics for the entire dungeon. All parts have mechanics in it, but the questing is as bad as you would imagine.
Okay. I liked it in the sense that, like, from the concept of, as long as it's kind of enjoyable to do, you know, once or twice, even if it's not something crazy good, the idea is that, like, the next 3 dungeons that come out after it are all supposed to be harder in difficulty, right? So even if this is like not the hardest thing ever, if they keep scaling up, then, you know,
and I feel like
it can be fun, right?
I feel like the hardest part of getting a dungeon, right, or a raid, or whatever you want to call it, is the mechanics. And I feel like that's the strongest part of the dungeon, is actually the mechanics. And so long as they listen to player feedback and they like removing questing from the next dungeon, that's easy to do, right? Like making a better earring or belt or whatever for the loot in the next one, that's like easy stuff to do relative to the mechanics. So I feel like the mechanics being the strong part is really a strong indicator that this will be good future content, if they can fix some of the other minor issues. So I am pretty hopeful for it.
The only thing that I don't like is they're doing this thing where it's like you get a special title for the first party that does it, and it's colored. It's like this yellow looking title. And then it's a special title for the 30 parties after that completed on the hardest difficulty. But it's like, okay, but that would be cool if you released it globally to everybody. But Korea got it first.
Korean streams to get it.
Yeah, so it's like basically whoever's ruining it for themselves is gonna be the one that wins. Nice. It's not like an actual race.
Dude, that reminds me of like the world first TBC races that are going on right now. It's so fucking cringe to me. Like it's like who can do the first Magtheridon clear? And it's like, well, you guys know that people already killed it back in 2007, right? Like that's how that sounds to me. Like, who can be the first person in A to clear this thing that's already been cleared in another region? Oh wow, how exciting.
Yeah, like I like the concept of them being like, okay, first party to ever clear this on the hardest difficulty gets a special title, and it's colored, and those are like all the rage in video. But like when you give it to Korea first for like a month before we even get it, like, is that it's not even exciting at that point. It's like, okay, well, who's gonna watch Korean streams and ruin it from themselves? And then they put it one step further and made it so they added dungeons to Global Labs, but they made it so you can't do the dungeons on Global Labs. So it's like, what's the point of even putting it on Global Labs if you can't even run it on Global Labs? They do some really
see what other spaghetti breaks.
Yeah, it's so weird. So weird.
Yeah,
they added it in Global Labs to see if it like turns off farming or anything. You know, you never know what adding new content's gonna do. So even if you can't access the content, you got to see if it like, you know, messes with like your fishing drops or something.
Never know when monster damage is going to, you know, buff your damage to tower destroyers.
So yeah, I'm kind of excited about it, but hopefully they kind of like take this first dungeon release and refine it for the next 3 that are coming out, you know?
Yeah, the things I want to see for the next one is a unique reward for the next dungeon, no questing, and I want to see it come out worldwide at the same time. It's because I feel like it should be like a Mysteries of Summer type thing, right? It's not fun if it's literally no fun at all if it's not at the same time. and I feel like the dungeon is very similar to that. Because like is the
Alright,
first,
well-
by the way, the new title is yellow. If you're the first team to complete it, the new title is yellow, and if you're second through
Yellow,
30,
bro,
then it's this
yellow.
regular color.
Oh man.
Yep.
That's
Okay.
kind of weird, dude. Like, I don't know. They weren't like, yeah, we're so happy to self-publish because then everybody's gonna be under the same publisher
And we can do
for
everything faster.
transparency. Yeah. And then it's like, oh, the first time there's group content, it's Korea first, as always. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, it feels like beta testing.
Yeah, I think it's overall pretty poor. Like, I mean, I'm happy that the dungeon came out. I feel like they have a lot to learn from it. Some of the good loot from the new dungeon is weapon exchange coupons. There's like some type. It's not trash loot, but there's like some type of pieces you can get for it. And if you get 1,000 of these pieces from the dungeon, you can turn in for 3 weapon exchange coupons. I don't know how long it takes to get those. Is there anything else? I think that's it for the dungeon aside from spoilers.
They did it. They made it so that you can get the compass pieces from it.
Yeah, there's a
They
super rare
did put
chance.
that.
Is it all of them or just Elton?
I'm not sure. It just says compass pieces. So I don't know if that means like all 3 of them.
What if it makes the compass like completely trivial to get right
I think
after
it'd be,
Big and Shiny got hit?
I think that'd be dumb.
after all those years.
After Shiny spent all these years, dude.
I actually don't think it should have been in a dungeon. Like, I feel like that's a cop out on like we couldn't think of any new ideas to add to the dungeon, so we're just going to add the compass. I feel like I don't really like the feeling of it being in the dungeon.
As someone who doesn't have a compass, look, I take more ways to give me the compass. Fuck it, dude. Especially because having the compass is more an item that you yourself don't really want, but you want your friends to have so they can teleport you places. Because once you get it, but can I get a sum? Yo, Curry, you got a sum? Yo, Potion, let me get that sum. You got an underwater character,
Yeah, once you get it, don't tell anyone that you have it.
Exactly. Once you teleport one person, it's game over.
All right. Do we have any other big stuff from Korea or from Global Lab?
Global Lab was really small this week. They made it where you can apparently you can thumbs up the bell now. There's like a little drop down for the bell icon, and you can actually
That's
thumbs
smart,
up
dude. I like that. That's smart.
it.
That's so weird. Like when someone pops a golden bell, you can like thumbs up it.
Yep. And you
Hell
can see
yeah,
how
dude.
many-
You can look like that shit. Oh my god, that's so good.
I feel like
So
they should have
smart.
been. I feel like every thumbs up should have added like 15 seconds. I feel like that's what it should have done. So that
Dude, those bells are
Whoa.
like $20-something. It better, that's bro. That's bro.
Other small stuff is some dungeon fixes. They did some alchemy quests. The cool one was you can now make 20 magical shards and then kill 500 monsters at Kortuga and get 2 forest furies. So that seems like a pretty interesting quest and maybe worth it, depending on your gear level and everything. Other than that,
Sure.
I don't know if any of the other ones are even that good, which says a lot, I think. What is the other thing here? Some small class changes, nothing big, some fixes. Let's see. Pearl Shop. Now, this is actually very interesting here. The Pearl Shop actually had some very interesting stuff. So they added a new thing. It's called Family Guild Pledge. That's what it's called, Family Guild Pledge. And the Family Guild Pledge you can get as a guild item, and you can redeem it for a Pearl Shop costume that lasts 7 days. So apparently they are doing this as sort of like an idea with the bell, but this was a Pearl Shop costume for the guild. I don't know. I don't really see the main point of it.
Yeah, I'm not really sure about that, but I'm looking at this head storage butler. Did we talk about this?
Yes. It's like so basically the way it works is, let's say you have 1,000 trash loot and one maid can move 300 of it. Normally you'd have to use 3 maids to move that trash stack. Well, and you'd have to click 3 times. With the head butler, it still uses 3 maids, but you can use 3 maids in one click instead of clicking 3 times.
For the low price of $22?
For the low price of $22, you can save yourself a second. Yeah.
I can save half a second of clicking if I pay $22?
Yes, sir.
There's somebody who's gonna
I
buy
think
it.
he himself also functions as a maid, so like maybe they'll eventually do like a discount or something. But yeah,
Whoa.
Wait, so how much more expensive is he than a regular maid?
he's
the price of
2.2K,
two.
right? Yeah.
Like the price of 2 maids. Or the price of 3 maids, since 3 maids are always on sale for the price of 2 maids.
True.
Yeah, it's pretty expensive, honestly, for what he does.
Cool. So sorry, I got distracted. What does the guild pledge do? You said it's like a pearl shop thing for your guild.
So
Right,
you bought, like, let's say I bought the pledge, then I use the pledge, and then anybody in my guild can go to the pearl shop on, I think it's any character, and there'll be a button in the top right where you can redeem pledge, and when you redeem pledge, you get like a pearl shop costume for 7 days on that character.
So it's like you can supply the guild with a temporary costume.
You're buying temporary costumes for your guildies.
Yeah, I guess
So it's like guild only temporary gifting.
right. And apparently there's some type of thing that it gives you like a cronstone per redemption or something. So maybe you get like up to 99 cronstones back from it. So there's a small return, I think, for people who redeem it. But I don't know.
What category is it under? Where do I find it?
This is in they just added this to the Korean Pearl Shop this week. I didn't realize they did something new for the NA one. And then the ARC Pearl Shop updates was we got Tamer costume this week. Korea got DK costume, and the next costume is going to be a Zerker costume. So we'll see that in probably 2 weeks for us. And the Zerker costume looks sick.
Task Force.
Honestly, like, we joked about that when we first heard about it, and the name is definitely stupid, but it honestly has been producing some really cool results, and definitely like the Nouveau outfit is definitely from them, like, for sure, and also the what's the other one that you can grind?
The Orzeka.
Yeah, the Orzeka outfit's definitely from them as well, and I feel like the benefits of that costume task force, along with like they're monetizing the game in a more healthy way through costumes, I think is just I'm actually been pretty happy about it overall.
You think that's led to more healthy monetization?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they're definitely releasing more costumes that are cooler. It's definitely making them more money.
What other predatory monetization has gone down instead of up since then? I mean, ever since we've had the costume task force, we've had things like RNG loot boxes and a whole bunch of shit that you can't buy in Belgium and the Netherlands that wasn't in the cash up before that's now being added.
I don't think it's gotten much
weren't the
worse.
Weren't the energy pots that you don't like also added after the costume task force?
No, they weren't added. And most of the RNG boxes were already a thing beforehand. They just got reintroduced. I'm pretty happy though with overall. My thought on it is more independent to the is costumes a healthy way of monetizing the game? And the answer is yes. And so more of that can't be bad for the game. And so I feel like it gives them less incentive. Like if they weren't making as much money out costumes, there would be more incentive to like do more RNG boxes, do more pay to win, to do
honestly
something new.
Though. I'm surprised they don't do more costumes. Literally just take it the League of Legends route and come out with some like off-brand KDA shit, dude, and just release these like weeb-ass pop star outfits and just make bank. I don't see why they don't do it more, surprisingly, right?
I mean, honestly, yeah, you could do like themes for it. I
League
guess
literally churns out like a fuck ton of costumes every week. I'm surprised that like BDO only comes out with one every week, and a lot of them are just recopies of itself. Almost every Tamer, Lon, DK skin, they're all the same, right? It's just like put a little cloth here, take a little cloth away from here, make this see through. Like I'm surprised
some of the costumes have recently been like really, really good though. Like I'll agree. Yeah. Like maybe 1 out of every 5 is like a rehash, but most of the new costumes are like really on point. They're like solid costumes.
Like that new Zerker outfit that they revealed, I think it was like yesterday or today. It's really sick, and like the hash outfit was really good. So they've come out with some good ones for sure. Yeah. And like Archer's probably gotten one of the best ones in the last couple weeks.
And then there's
But
the
nobody's
Guardian
seen
one.
it because it's Archer, yeah. Yeah, and the Guardian.
Yep,
Oh yeah, I remember Archer.
that's a class.
Look at it. Dude, it looks good.
It's almost a reason to play Archer by itself.
It should have been for all classes, not just Archer. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, imagine making an outfit just for Archer. Yikes.
And it's
I
sick,
get what
dude.
is it right now. We have 22 classes in BDO. Is that right? So every class gets a costume roughly 2.5 times a year, 2 or 3 times a year. Is that about right?
Yeah. I also like that you can tell what the release schedule is for the new outfits on the Korean website. They have like the next 4 or 5 weeks in a row listed.
Yep, I like
That's
that
pretty-
too.
I don't know why they don't do it on the NA website, but I mean, it doesn't really matter, I guess, if you know where you can look. But
Let's see. That is it for BDO stuff. First non-BDO. I mean, if you want, is there anything else about BDO you want to talk about? That I didn't think of or I missed.
I don't think so.
I think that's
Pretty
about it, right?
pretty slow for NAEU. I mean, most of the news was the dungeon, right? So
They're probably holding back until the Huddle Ball.
yeah.
Yeah, honestly.
Also, there's like some type of holiday in Korea, so I think it's on the 6th. So that's probably also slowed them down a little bit. Because probably people taking days off ahead of time and after as well. So Twitch got about 1,000 DMCAs recently. So that's been like a new thing. So apparently there's been our wave of DMCAs going out.
Dude, that email did you guys read that email they sent? That was so much lip service, bro. It
Mm-hmm.
was
They
so
were like,
annoying
"We
to read.
recommend you delete everything that you do on our website." Smile.
Yo, and they were like, we just received over 1,000 DMCA takedown notices. We reached out today to some music labels to try and come to an agreement. I'm like, bro, we've literally had DMCA as a problem forever now, and you just now literally today. Just
Yeah,
now
what were they
reached
doing
out to some
before
record
this?
labels.
Were they
What
not
the
doing
fuck
that
were you doing?
already?
What were you doing the last 2 years? They're like, yeah, today we reached out to some record labels to try and come to an agreement for our Twitch streamers to listen to music. Like, bro, hello? It's so
Yikes.
weird.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. I don't know why Twitch is so obsessed with deleting our content. I'm not sure why they can't just unlist it, and
Well-
just make it not public rather than deleting it. What's the fucking problem? Like, you've
They-
been able to do that on YouTube for years.
They did say they're going to be adding a unlist issue or unlist option on the website, but it's not complete, so that's convenient.
And the crazy thing though
Oh
is
my
that
God,
you
dude.
can still get DMCA'd for shit that you deleted from your channel.
Yep,
Like, that's
because
the crazy part.
Twitch actually keeps a copy on the website even if you delete it, so they have their copy and you can't delete their copy.
They just don't let you access your content as the creator. They keep their shit on their side, and you get punished for that. Yeah, it's just they're basically just doing everything. It's like the worst of both worlds, Like
It's like if Probus took over Twitch.
all downside, no upside, no trade off, just pure negativity. Yeah, it's thanks Twitch. Thanks for giving me yet another tool to delete my content. That's my favorite part of all these emails that we get. It's like we're working really hard to make it so that the delete all your content button is easier to click every week.
Yeah, and then they were like, we're finally gonna make it so that you can see what DMCA's you have in your dashboard. It's like,
Wow,
why
imagine that.
you not like why hasn't that been a thing forever? Like, if you got a copyright strike, you should have been able to see it in your dashboard the entire time instead of like waiting for your account to randomly disappear out of nowhere. So
Yeah, you should
weird.
see what it is. You should see what the portion of the content that's being claimed is. You should be able to dispute it. Like, I don't know why all this wasn't done 4 or 5 years ago.
100%. It seems
that
like
shit was
Fucking
puzzling.
embarrassing, man. It's fucking embarrassing.
hopefully they'll take all that all that revenue they're getting from the subs and ads and everything and fix it. I mean,
I'm every week I'm just so shocked that YouTube doesn't just come out with a revamped streaming platform and just fucking crush Twitch. Like I don't know why they don't just put money into it, make it look good, add some new features, clean it up, and just annihilate Twitch. Like they're a way bigger company. They're way like they have
Yeah.
way more power, way more funding. Like I don't know why Twitch even exists anymore. When I see shit like this, I don't know how someone hasn't come by and just stomped them into the ground.
I mean, I guess at the end of the day, it's like when you're making like, what is it, 20 billion a quarter or something like that, that you know, it's small potatoes. It's like, we'll get to it eventually, you know? I don't know. I definitely feel like there's a big opportunity if someone has like enough money to make it work on their side, you know, to develop it and all.
I don't know. Maybe I just like had too high of like hopes of Amazon, dude. Because like for like it's like the second time this happened. Like it's like Twitch acquired or Amazon acquired Twitch a long time ago. I was like, okay, well, shit, they're backed by Amazon. There's no way things can't get better. And then with New World, where it was like New World ended up being a good game.
True.
But like here, if you hear from like if you tell me that Amazon was funding an MMO, I'm gonna be like, oh shit, I'm gonna expect the next best thing. But like the New World wasn't that. So maybe
Right.
I just hold Amazon, like the Amazon power, in too high of a regard. Maybe that's the problem, dude.
I don't really think they get funding from Amazon. I think Amazon owns them, but I'm pretty sure they're still mostly run as an independent company. I don't think that there's like a
Yeah.
bunch of executives from Amazon or a bunch of funding coming in from Amazon. It's similar to how the New World devs said that, you know, hey, just because we're under Amazon, like we still have to make a profit. That was kind of part of their justification for their absurd, you know, cash shot posts that they were making. They were like, we're not making enough money, you guys. We got to give money back to Amazon. So I'm sure Twitch is the same way. I'm sure they're expected to turn an independent profit. I don't think that Amazon is funneling money into Twitch. I mean, if they are, holy fuck, they're not getting a return on that. Like they're not getting their money's worth if they're getting any parent company funding. I'm pretty sure it's all independent.
And that makes sense
really has
too,
to.
right? It makes sense for them to think that way. As a big company, it's almost unmanageable if you were just like funneling money into projects like that. You can see how Microsoft did that for their streaming service, and you know it didn't go anywhere. So
It could have, though, if they had just done a decent job. I mean,
True.
I just don't really think that there's that much competition in the streaming. But like, if someone actually makes a good, I mean, Mixer was just not good, right? Like, if they had just like just make it good for it instead of spending tens of millions of dollars, signing Shroud and Ninja, maybe hire some developers and fix your website, and then you can get a return on that.
And
I think
I think the chat, literally, like all of these other streaming sites, their chat is just shit, and they just haven't really picked up that people like to chat. Like it's the chat experience,
yeah.
and like they just haven't figured it. Because like Mixer had this thing where like in order to type an emote, you couldn't just type in like Kappa or something, and it would turn Kappa into the emote. You had to put semicolon Kappa semicolon for it to actually put the Kappa thing, which doesn't sound like a big deal, but it kind of is in a way. It's like one of those little things that actually make a big impact, you know? Like if anytime you wanted to type Kappa or like something like that, you had to put 2 semicolons, just little things like that.
I mean, people want, it's very simple, right? They want a big picture to look at, and they want a chat to be able to talk to the streamer. And that's like the two things. And the chat experience needs to be easy. Like it's got to be simple, like texting. The reason texting took over is it was easier than calling somebody up. That's the whole reason. You know?
Yeah, like again, like I'm not saying that like fucking Twitch should just like disappear or something, but it's like it's crazy to me to think that like you just now are reaching out to record labels today as a solution for streamers to listen to music on stream today when it's been a problem.
Yeah, I feel
it's crazy.
I feel very supported. Do you guys feel supported? I feel very. I think Twitch has my back. I feel very.
Well,
very
at
supported right now.
the end
It's
of the
so
day,
weird,
like,
dude.
you know, I do feel like it is ultimately like the streamer's responsibility to like make sure they're playing music that is, you know, they have the rights to stream. But I feel like Twitch has done a poor job educating people on how that works. You know, on YouTube, you put one bad song up there, and they're like, demonetized. You know, you got flagged. Your account can't upload anything for a week, and it's like, all right, all right, that's not good. I should probably not do that again. But on Twitch, you can literally stream like bad music for like 3 years, and then now they finally send you an email for the first time. And I feel like the education level that they're giving their users on the topic is also poor, on top of their poor handling of giving streamers good resources.
And another crazy thing is that like even Facebook Gaming, which is relatively new, they literally have contract with larger parent like record labels, and as long as it's a record label that's owned by this, like I think it was Warner Brothers was the record label, was the parent record company. If the artist is under one of their like banners, then you can listen to it on stream. They have a contract with Facebook. Like I don't see how Twitch should do anything like that. It's crazy.
Imagine getting a licensing deal. Wow.
Yep.
And it's so confusing.
Oh, dude. It just feels like we're still living in the 90s.
And that's kind of like the problem, right? We're like a lot of times where they're like, okay, well, it's not like somebody is ripping the songs off and uploading it to LimeWire or some shit. It's like it's literally free advertisement. Like most of the artists I listen to, if I didn't hear the song in somebody's stream, I probably wouldn't know what it was, dude. I'm not going out and searching for this stuff, right? Well, it's kind of like doesn't make sense.
I have come to realize after watching World of Warcraft come out and RuneScape, and I was like, wow, I can't wait for MMOs in 10, 20 years, and they're going to be so amazing. And now it's been 10, 20 years, and I'm like, all right, well, the state of MMOs did not go to where I thought it was. So because of that, I have more realistic expectations for things like Twitch not really being better in 10 to 20 years. So video games have taught me a hard lesson about that. I do find it really unfortunate, though, and the sad part is it's not the music industry that loses here. It's not Twitch that loses. It's the streamers that lose at the end of the day. They're the ones that are going to get punished.
Speaking of things may or may not getting better in 10 years, Crowfall is suddenly launching.
Was that like a out of nowhere decision?
A little bit. I didn't even know the game was in a remotely ready to launch state, and it sounds when you read the guy's post like it's kind of not ready. It's the most tepid launch blog post I've ever read from a developer in my entire life.
Yeah, because like I had a bunch of people that would ask me like, "Yo, is this game like coming out anytime soon? Have you heard anything about it?" I'm like, "Bro, that game's been zero dark 30 like quiet for the last year." It was
okay. So
surprising.
Apparently they've had a beta running since like mid 2020 or something. I went and logged in, and they were like, "You can come and play the beta if you want." I guess you can play the beta, right? I don't know. Everyone I know who's tried the game has been very like meh about it. It sounded to me like it was still very far away from being done, but they're literally launching in one month from now. I have to read you guys this quote from the launch post though, because this is so funny to me. So he says, "Crowfall is now ready for the next step in its evolution. Quote unquote going live." Like he puts going live in quotes. So right away, if you're the lead dev for a game and you're launching in a month, and you can't say the phrase "going live" without putting quotes around it, I'm a little bit alarmed. Okay, so let's continue. Let me be very clear. I'm not going to announce that we've finished, in quotes, Crowfall, or call it done, in quotes. A game like this is never finished. An online world is never done. Even the word launch, in quotes, is a misnomer, I think, because, quote, going live is not the end of the journey. It is the beginning. Quote unquote, going live is more like having a baby. It's scary. It's messy. It's painful. Yet it is also beautiful. Fuck? Because you are breathing life into something new, something that only existed in your imagination, something you hope will outlive you. There's more, but oh my god, dude, that part of the post was so funny to me. Like, does that just make you want to go out and buy a copy of Crowfall, right? Does that get you hyped or what, boys? We're having a baby.
They related the release to a game to having a baby.
We're having a messy at-home birth with no doctors.
I feel like, yeah, I feel like they don't have a PR team.
No, this was literally written by J. Todd Coleman. I don't think there was any marketing people who approved this.
Well, I mean, I guess what that tells me is that they have a really small team, and they are, I don't know, they just don't have much budget, so I guess expectations should be tampered.
I kickstarted this game in 2014. I know they made quite a lot of money back then. The MMO landscape was quite a bit different, and a lot of us weren't quite as burnt out as we are now. Although it was already pretty bad. It's crazy to think that was fucking 7 years ago. But yeah, they made a lot of money back then. I don't know how much of it they still have. It kind of sounds like maybe they ran out, and that's the only reason they're launching. I haven't seen any advertising for this game. I haven't seen any hype. I haven't seen them like posting updates. I haven't seen any buzz around this game at all. So finding out that it was coming out in a month, I'm like, I posted on Discord and on Twitter. I'm like, yo, is anyone playing this? Like, is anyone like comes out in a month? Anyone have any thoughts? And it just fucking crickets, like no response. I don't know if people in chat have played it lately or know anything about it. Like everyone I ask, like, hey, what do you guys think of Crowfall? Did you guys try Crowfall? They're all just kind of like, I played it like, last year and uninstalled it after. Now, like, I can't get any feedback from anyone about it.
I really wonder like what the main issue is. Like what like I guess explain like the core loop for people who don't know. Like what's the core loop, right?
Oh, I don't even know, dude. I mean, they started off saying that it was going to be like a seasonal like PvP MMO where you would go to like a new world and you would level up and you'd get resources and you would PvP over shit, and then you would take the resources back to like the permanent world where you could, you know, build your house or whatever.
But it's not that anymore.
I don't know, dude. I don't know what it is. They used to have like I don't even remember, dude. The game's gone through so many different iterations. I mean, I followed it really closely back in like 2015 to 2016, but I have no idea what's happened to it since then. I mean, it could be completely different. I think they're using voxels. So like part of the game was supposed to be sieging with like voxel technology. So you could blow up people, like actually blow up people's castles and stuff. Because the main dev, the guy who wrote the poem about his child, he was also the lead guy behind Shadowbane, and that was like the first MMO where you could actually build buildings and like destroy other people's structures, and like create, you know, like cities out in the open world and then siege other people's cities. Like that was Shadowbane was kind of the first game that did that to that scale. And so I think they were trying to bring some of that back for Crowfall, where you could like build a city on this planet and then other people could come and siege your city or blow it up with cannons or whatever. I don't know if any of that actually made it into the game. I have no idea what the gameplay loop is going to be like now. I mean, all I've heard from people who've played it is that, you know, they just couldn't really get into it.
Hey, well, I mean, you'll be one of the few people who've backed a game that actually launched on Kickstarter. So that's that'll be something in itself, really.
Crowfall is a very weird one for me because like it was like one of those games where people talked about like, yo, what are you excited for any new MMOs on the horizon? And people would be like, oh, well, Crowfall and Ashes of Creation, you know, like those were kind of, I would hear those two kind of synonymously, but then Crowfall just kind of vanished. I literally haven't heard anything about it since like Moral said, like literally 2016. It's been a long time.
Well, the thing that happened is like they did the open beta, and like the open beta is kind of as like blah. So I feel like most people after that just kind of lost interest, you know, and they were expecting them to do like you know, fix the issues, and then they never did.
Yeah, I think when the game was, it's kind of like Ashes of Creation in the sense that when the game is just in the concept phase, there's infinite hype. But once people actually see the game, then it has to live up to the hype. Oh, never mind.
Yeah, it has to live up to the hype.
Yeah.
And I mean, I feel like
games are so good before they exist. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, man.
They're so good before they exist.
I feel like they really need to look at like when a game happens like that. I feel like you need to almost be like, these are the things that we plan on fixing. Like, we heard all your feedback and we need to fix these things. I feel like a lot of people are really good about coming up with a basic idea and then releasing it, right now, and in almost it's always like your first idea is never gonna be perfect, you know. And I feel like they need to make a second vision, like this is our roadmap too to fix everything else, like and then get people hyped up again in it, you know, like get hyped because like you got to have that constant hype cycle going on, you know, like what's the next thing? What are you working on next? Why are you gonna fix? You know. Because then people can believe in it. But if you release like Crowfall beta and then no one likes it and you don't have any like vision for like what's it going to look like in 3 years, and people are just like, well, it was a good idea.
Do you
Okay,
guys
so-
have like? Oh, go ahead, Mark.
I was going to say, chat is saying that it's like a seasonal war game where you and your guilds capture different parts of the map, and you get more resources, like the more captures that you have, and then I don't know. I guess maybe you use those resources to like get better gear or something.
Sounds like it's
or
basically
maybe,
the same concept.
Yeah, I don't really know.
Interesting.
I mean, it could be if the combat's good, something like that could be fun. I guess.
The Comcast like World of Warcraft.
I don't really
isn't it?
know if that doesn't really sound very like MMO-ish, but maybe it's like some sort of like MMO BR hybrid that they're going for.
Do you guys still like even believe in Kickstarters at this point?
Yeah, I mean, you have to be very careful. Like, I backed Oculus Rift, and I have the first one in my closet over there, and I thought that worked out pretty good. And like, Star Citizen, I feel like although hasn't released yet, in quotations, I do think that it's doing something that's really special in the gaming space that would never be possible in a for-profit industry. Like, it's that type of game where you have this crazy vision for a game that's going to be developed over the next 100 years and never release is not possible normally. And I think that's interesting. Like, what was there one? Original Sin, is that what it's called? Or Divinity Sin or something like that?
Yeah,
they came out. That was a
good
Kickstarter.
There's lots of good. There's lots of good single player Kickstarter games for sure.
Yeah.
MMOs, I'm not so sure about.
I mean, to be fair, there hasn't been really a good MMO that's launched in recent history, let alone a Kickstarter one. So
Albion was originally a Kickstarter, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I feel like it was.
Yeah, I want to say it was. They need to do Albion 2 for PC only. That's what it is.
Yeah, I just feel so weird about Kickstarters and pre-orders nowadays, and I'm just like, fuck it, dude. Just let me know when the game's coming out.
Like
I'm kind of like jaded by the recent landscape of like MMOs, you know.
I feel like nowadays, there's been enough bad apples from video games that you need to have something playable and say we've gone this far. We want to go farther, but we need more funding. And so you basically have a proof of concept that's fun, and people go like, "All right, I like this." And because that way you feel confident putting your money in there because the team has proven to know how to do anything.
So Albion sold founders packs and starters packs and stuff like that. I don't know if they actually did a Kickstarter, but they basically did their own crowdfunding on their own platform.
Mm-hmm.
And one source is saying they raised $10 million before the launch of the game. So I think they had maybe like a year and a half of beta and then probably a year or two of alpha before that, and they were able to raise several million during that time. So but I mean, Albion was a game where like I didn't play an alpha, but I played beta 1, 2, and 3. And as early as beta 1, the game was pretty solid. Like you wanted to buy the game and play it. Like you saw other people playing it. You weren't buying like the hope that this game was going to be good in the future. You could see people streaming it already and putting up YouTube videos, and it was like, fuck, I kind of want to try this. And so you would buy it and you would actually have fun playing it. It wasn't just something that existed in your mind like all these other Kickstarters.
Yeah, I feel like what was that game we played recently? Which had like the different biomes and you had like the swamp creature, the dragon at the end, and all that stuff.
Valheim.
Like if Valheim came out and said, "Hey, we made a lot of money, but we have a big vision for Valheim 2, and we want to do a Kickstarter to raise like $5 million." I feel like that would be respectable because the first game was good. Even if it was a small team, like I'd be really willing to back.
I don't know, bro. Like Crowfall, these guys had some pretty, like J. Todd Coleman had some fucking street cred, man. Shadowbane was some good shit back in the day.
I have no idea what that is.
Like,
It feels like with a lot of these MMOs we're having to go by like good faith, like hoping they won't change their vision or like.
I actually don't think there's really any evidence that just because a dev worked on one successful MMO that anything they ever do in the future will also be successful. I can't think of literally a single example of that being the case. Like even like Mark Jacobs and Dark Age of Camelot, like what's he working? Camelot Unchained, is that shit ever going to get released? Like Richard Garriott wasn't able to do anything cool after Ultima Online. I don't know any MMO dev who made more than one good game.
Like, I guess my example would be like, if a game came out and they wanted to do an expansion for it, like let's say Albion said, hey, we have this idea of updating the entire graphic engine of Albion, but it's going to cost us $2 million. Like, I would fund that because that makes a lot of sense for me, right? That's something I can get behind. If it was like a brand new developer saying we want to make Albion Online, I'd be really apprehensive. And so that's what I'm kind of saying, where if you have something you've already proven you can do, I'm much more willing to fund your next project for you, or help you fund it. Right, that makes sense to me. Like, if someone says I made a successful MMO one time and I'm going to make my own company now and I'm going to do that, I really wouldn't follow that or back that because, like, to me, like, I don't know if that was you, your team, the lead designer, like like some guy who is in the back office is sweating 24/7 and no one knows about. Like for example, in BDO, like, even though we have a head designer of BDO, like, do we really know that he is the big brains behind the game? Like, the guy on the guy that's working on mobile, like he seems like he's doing a fantastic job, but they ran that game into the ground with pay to win. So I feel like really, unless it's the current project with the current team, that's already been proven, that's the only one I'd really want to back it. Like, Would
you kickstart a BDO too?
Well, because they're already making so much pay to win, I don't think it makes any sense. Like, I know they're making like so much money, they don't need that. But
I mean, there's like what all even is on the horizon, right? You got League of Legends making, like, Riot, they're making a League of Legends MMO, but like, I don't know if
there's quite a bit actually. That's another the reason why I was so confused by this Crowfall release, because there's actually a shitload of games coming out in the next few months. Sort of Legends coming out, Allianz coming out, New World is coming out. Now Crowfall is coming out. What else? 9.1 for Shadowlands should be coming out. There was like 2 other really big games that are releasing by the end of summer as well. Bless Unleashed. I don't know if that's really big, but it's there's a lot of shit that's coming out.
I feel like
by the end of summer.
If you're the weakest of the competition, right, then you want to be the first one to get your game out. And I feel like that's probably where Crowfall's at right now. Like, they're probably the weakest of the upcoming MMOs. And so they want to get their game out in order to like beat the crowd a little bit. So if you have nothing to play, you're really likely to go and like try something out.
Man, that's pretty bleak. You think that they have such little faith in their game that they're trying to rush it and beat the other like games to the finish line?
Yeah, I think so. Oof. Yeah. And I
could kind of see that in a way where it's like, if you see all these other games releasing and dropping shit, you might as well at least like get yours out there and get a piece. I don't know. It's hard to say.
Yeah,
and there definitely has to be a reason, right?
If I was a game developer and I'd be like, well, do I want to release with New World and all these other competition and I need to release in the next 6 months? Do I want to do that, or do I want to just want to like release it ahead of schedule now and then just keep on working on it and make some cash? Like, I feel like New World has definitely got more hype than Crowfall, like, for sure. Same with Lost Ark and even Bless Online, like,
yeah, all these games have more hype. I think that's clear, but
it could be like a mixture, right? Like Moro said, what if at this point it could be that most of the Kickstarter money's gone. So at this point, if they want to keep working on the game, then they have to do a release. And then it's like Potion said, well, okay, well, you got like 4 MMOs coming out later this year. I mean, now is kind of the time, because nobody's going to play that over like a new WoW expansion, or like, heaven forbid if we ever get Lost Ark and stuff. So I mean, I could see it, right, in a way.
That makes sense. And I mean, I don't think it's a bad thing anyway. Like, as a company, like, who doesn't have a lot of hype for their game and maybe needs some money or whatever, I think it's fine. And it'll be something to give people something to play for like a month or 2, and maybe they'll give them enough money to like fund another year of development and fix the game,
I
or
feel
make it
like
better.
their game, I don't think another year is going to do anything. Like, I followed Crowfall so closely in the first few years. And I remember when they were talking about, like a 2016 beta or something. I mean, they're
Mhm.
just so far behind. Like every MMO is behind schedule, but Crowfall is like comically behind schedule. And the fact that they're just suddenly releasing now without, it doesn't feel like 7 years of progress.
Yeah.
Feels like almost nothing has happened with that game in the last 3 to 4 years. And I don't know if like maybe they just ran out of steam. Maybe they just ran out of passion for the project.
Does
Maybe
it
they
give
just
you
wanna
like cyberpunk
move on.
vibes?
It gives me vibes that
No,
the
it's
guy in charge is getting paid way too much and they ran out of money. That's what it
I
gives me
don't.
vibes of.
It's not like it doesn't give me cyberpunk vibes. It gives me like here's what I think happened. You have some industry veterans. You got guys in their 40s and 50s who once upon a time 20 years ago made really good games, and they have the money and the clout to start their own company. And when they do that and they try to make their own game, they have some new ideas that are kind of experimental, and the experiment doesn't really go that well, and the product they make doesn't really work, and like they tried something new, and we can commend them for that, but at the end of the day it kind of wasn't good, and now they have to finish it anyways. I don't know, that's the vibe that I get from it.
Don't you
That
think that's like such a weird like paradox where like the old guys that kind of made their name on these older MMOs that were kind of revolutionary in their time are the ones that are kind of trying something new, but then like the up and coming people are
the new
kind of
bloods
just
aren't.
they're kind of just doing what's already proven, like the
You
WoW
know
method, right? Which is
that
kind of weird.
I was pretty negative, but I think that makes a lot more sense what you said, Moro. Like it makes a lot more sense that they took a risk, it didn't pan out, and they're just finishing it up, putting in their time, and then they'll move on to the next project, right? And I feel like that's like a fair thing to do.
And also, like, there's so many moving parts in these games, and it's really interesting to see which parts of these games fail and which part succeeds. Like, I would imagine that bits of Crowfall are very intelligently designed. Like the way that you capture territory and accumulate resources and stuff like that, that could be a really, really good, interesting competitive system. But it's behind these kind of uninspired, weird, bland graphics and like a world that doesn't really feel alive or look good. It's almost the opposite of the problem New World has, where like you step foot into New World and you do some combat and you move around and you control your character and everything feels really good and the world is immersive and it's got music and like the environments are very compelling, and but then the actual design part of the game, like the actual content, is just flat and not well thought out and nearly non-existent.
Mhm.
Like it's interesting to see, you have all these different moving parts that have to come together in an MMO, and some games get the immersive into sort of emotional part of the game right, but they can't figure out the logic. I would actually say BDO's in that category. And then other games, it's like the logic makes sense, but the games just don't feel good to play, even if the systems are well designed. And it's just really hard to get both of those things at once, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. It's one of those things where it's like you would rather, but if you did have that problem, you'd rather have it like, I feel like it's easier to solve your content drought problem than it is
absolutely.
to create feeling or investment into the game. Right?
It's way easier to fix a game like New World or BDO than it is to fix a game like Crowfall or Ashes of Creation, in my opinion.
I think like a lot of these games have a problem with prototyping. Like you have this really cool idea, and the way you figure out how to make that idea work is you're supposed to prototype it. You put it into you do it in the most raw form possible. You get some basic characters out there, you get a basic map, and you just play around with like 6 people and you see if it works. And if it doesn't work or there's something that's fundamentally not fun about it, you change that thing and just keep editing this basic prototype until you have something that fundamentally is fun. And then when you have that, that's when you turn that into a game. I feel like this, like Crowfall maybe, and definitely a lot of our games have fallen into the trap of we have this great idea and then they never prototype it to actually see if it's fun. And that's a very, very important thing you got to start at the very beginning with. You can't do, is it fun after you've spent 5 years developing it, and then fix the fun part.
Yeah, I think you're really onto something here, because like if we think about games like Crowfall, and I feel like Ashes is going to suffer from this similar situation. They have these sort of big brain dev gamer guys who have like they have these grand theories in mind for all the features that the game is going to have, and they try to build a game around the features, and things like combat or the environment or the art style are almost an afterthought. They're almost like worked around the features instead of the other way around, and the games just end up feeling kind of soulless and dead as a result. And like you really have to start with that sort of like just emotional, does the game grip you or not foundation, and then put systems on top of that. If all you have is the systems or the features, I mean, Ashes of Creation has every fucking feature in MMO history, right? Like they got 25 features from Lineage 2 and 38 features from ArcAge. Like, we're taking this from this game, this from this game, this from this other game. But you look at the footage and like the combat just looks so copy paste, and the worlds like just don't grip you. And like who cares?
I feel like what they need to do, like with Ashes, is like you need to sit down with the combat and just put like a basic model in there and do like give them abilities, give them animations, like give them different ways to play, and like create like a version of that. And you're like, okay, well that wasn't that was like average. And then you say, all right, we need to be faster paced. So you do a faster paced version. You do like one that's slow, one that's fast, one that's high mobility, one that's like combo oriented, one that's like hotkeys, one that is like button mashing. And you play all those and you figure out which one mixes with your game properly, and you see which one is actually fun. And then you verify that by letting other people in the company test it. And then once you have that, then you implement it across the board. And right now, I feel like they create all the abilities, and then they created all like the assets, and then they're like, well, it's not fun. And you're like, what do we do? And like, I don't know. It's like you've been developing for 3 years, and your combat still sucks. You got to figure it out.
Weird.
I
agree.
Like you should.
Like we saw that problem with the beta test recently on a lot of the MMOs, right?
Yeah, it's like you should like a lot of things is just like simply just make a basic version of it, play it for 10 hours every day, and figure out and refine until it's fun. And then when it's fun, then you're like, all right, we got to copy paste our fun version into our game and make 10 different classes out of it. And like, I feel like that's what they're missing, man. It's just like the fundamental is like if you have something fundamentally wrong with your game, that means one of your fundamentals of game development is incorrect. And it's probably just going down to simple like prototyping, really.
Even like on another like bare bones level as that, a lot of these new MMOs that I've been doing the beta test for in the past couple months, I couldn't even tell you the name of one of their main cities. And that's like a big thing, right? Like if you can't make one of your cities memorable to people after they play the game, like that's a pretty big thing too.
Yeah, very unmemorable. That's the perfect description for how Crowfall feels. That's a perfect description for how Elion feels. Even Ashes of Creation. Like when I look at footage, it's so easy to forget what I just watched 5 minutes after I'm done watching it. Like, or even Elion, like literally playing that game. It's so easy to forget. I probably spent 20 or 30 hours playing that game during the beta. I barely remember any of it, bro. It wasn't compelling at all.
Literally, the only thing that I remember from Elion where it's like I liked their skill system, where it's like you have all your skills and each skill had 3 different versions, so you kind of spec out into your own thing.
Yeah.
But other than that, I can't really think of NPCs.
Yeah, I remember spending a lot of time thinking of builds and how I wanted to combo my skills, and that was great. I don't remember anything about where I was in the world or like what the places were called or what they even really looked like. Like everything is just kind of looks the same in my head when I try to like.
I mean, it really does.
Think about the different areas.
It's so weird.
Like, yeah.
And I guess it was, the thing that got me thinking about this a little bit recently, and the reason I came up with this idea for like the prototyping is like I was thinking about BDO fishing, and I was like, man, this is like it's so so basic, like spacebar, spacebar, spacebar again, type in the arrows or the letters. It's just not interesting. And it's like you could easily like play it and prototype a better version of fishing. Like anybody, like if like one single dude could go and make a better version of this. And it's like
But
that's
the crazy thing about that is, dude, it actually works in BDO because the world of BDO is compelling, and you can literally just be out on a boat in this game pressing this shitty, like 1992 keyboard mini game. And it works. Like the only reason people don't fish in BDO is because it's trash. But if it was actually decent money, people fish all the fishing used to be one of the most popular things in the game because it worked to just be in the game doing something, even if the system behind that was kind of awful. Like, they have the world.
Yeah, I agree. And I feel like you have to have one of the two, right? Like BDO has the world and it brings you in to do whatever mundane task that you're having to do. And the opposite version is you don't have the world, but then you have to make up for that by having a really, really interesting fishing system, right? Like for a good example, the one I like the most is I like fishing in like Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. I feel like that was pretty interesting, and I like harpoon fishing in Warframe. And Warframe is like you see the fish, you aim the harpoon, you're like, ah! And then you spear the fish and you bring it back out, and it feels so rewarding to do that entire process because you see the fish, and when you catch the fish, it has you hold it in your hands with your character, and you're like, that's the one. He's huge. Look how mighty he is.
Like even whatever you call it, Arcade does something like that where you have to build like a specific fishing boat that has like water tanks to put the fish in. And like the bigger the fish, like you physically see it and you have to catch it, and like you only have specific hooks that you can store large fish on and stuff. Like it's very interactive, right? And it like has this whole economy of like people that are pirates and they come and try to steal your fish from the people that are fishing. So you have people that like get paid to defend fishing caravans and stuff. There's a lot of I don't know. That's kind of like.
Well, I feel like you're onto something though. It's like sort of like both though, right? It's like you can have really immersive game environment people like, and you can have mundane task, or you can have really immersive task in the world itself you don't care about, or you can maybe have both, which would be like the perfect scenario, which is hard to come by. That's not normal. I know.
So yeah.
Well. I guess I'll hop into this Crowfall beta at some point in the next few weeks when I have a bit of time to break away from TBC and see. I mean, I've got to. If it's free to play right now, I've got to try it before the launch, just because people are going to be asking about it. But I don't know, man. Maybe people aren't going to be asking about it. It does not seem like there's any interest around this game whatsoever. I've never seen like for as thirsty as people are right now for a new game, there is like zero thirst for that, like zero hype for Crowfall. Like even Bless Online had more hype than this, bro.
I didn't even know it was coming out until you said you typed it in the Discord. Well, I had no idea.
To me, I've thought about Crowfall being out for a long time because it's not like you can't play it. It's not like you can't find footage on it. It's like for me, it was already one of those things in the back of my mind. It's like, yeah, Crowfall, yeah, I'm not going to play that because I heard about it and I know about it such a long time, It's the thing that Ashes of Creation is afraid of, right? Ashes of Creation is afraid that when they actually have an open alpha and people play it, if it's not an enjoyable experience, then they'll have the Crowfall effect. They're like, it's just Ashes of Creation. It's going to be garbage. Yeah. Like, don't worry about it. And then they'll dismiss it.
It's kind of how New World is too, right? Like there was infinite hype around New World until people actually played it. And we're like, oh, okay. Well, what else is coming out?
Yeah, and I mean, I do think that New World has potentially some redeeming qualities of like good crafting, maybe, and has really good graphics. But
New World is utterly redeemable still. It is completely redeemable. I just don't think that they will redeem it. I guess it's completely possible that they will, but unlikely.
I guess my point when mentioning that is really that when people see Crowfall, they think there's zero chance that can be redeemed. When they see New World,
I don't see their path.
Yeah, for New World, people think it might be possible, and that's a big difference in mindset, because if you think it might be possible, then you're like, I'll watch somebody stream it when it has the next big update, right? But if you think there's no redeeming factor of it, then like even if someone like streams it, you're probably not going to watch it because you're like, you've already dismissed it to the point where you're like, it's not possible to redeem it. And I think that's the big difference there. Because if New World has this really awesome update this fall with dungeons and gearing and questing and like all this different stuff that we worked, then people would be like, oh wow, they actually redeemed it. But if the opposite was true and they're like, we played the beta, that was unredeemable, then people wouldn't even watch it even if it came out. Like maybe it'd be a handful, right? But it'd be a super small launch. I feel like there's a difference between like New World launching and Crowfall. This is my what I think about it anyway.
Yeah, I don't think it would take much to redeem New World, honestly. The game has a great foundation. They just need to make it have meaningful content, and they need to do something with the PvP. But I'm worried that they won't do either one of those things. So
I'm a little worried with their boss fight mechanics. It seems like those are like really scuffed. They've never proven that they can do those.
Yeah, they're just kind of rushing it out, man. I mean, at this point, they're pivoting in the last minute to try to be a WoW clone. And it's like, come on, boys. Like, just do something with the PvP. That's what we all wanted to begin with.
Yep. Yeah, you should double down on PvP and then maybe develop PvE later on. Because people would continue to eat up PvP because it's not a good PvP MMO right now. This is not one.
The actual PvP itself, like the combat in that game, is so fucking fun, dude. They just need to make it not pointless. Like the problem right now is you go PvP for 20 minutes and it's, you just don't win anything. You don't accomplish anything, and you're like, okay, well, this is fun, but like, what am I doing? Like, I'm basically just playing, like a team deathmatch Call of Duty. Like, there's no meta. There's no. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't go anywhere. You're like, okay, well, that was great, but I'm ready to do something else now.
Yeah, true. And maybe, I mean, I guess their time is kind of running out, right? I feel like New World has a strong chance to be good, but I feel like their time is running out, and it's like, I don't think they have enough time between now and when their time runs out before they turn into a pumpkin, so to speak.
I think if they extend it one more time, it's kind of like
yeah,
it.
Yeah,
right?
they've
already extended it so much.
And there's two sides to that, right? They also have Amazon funding. That's probably, people are probably getting tired about that. So they're probably getting pressure from both sides. They're getting pressure from the community side, and they're getting pressure from the developer side, or like money side. So I feel like they need to get it out. They need to get it out in a playable state, and then say, this is our plan and then right on launch, like, we realize these 10 things are issues, and we want to fix them, and we're going to fix 3 of these the next year. We're listening to player feedback to continue making it better. Like, they need to do that almost day one, because without a doubt, there are going to be problems day one. Like, without a doubt. There's no doubt in my mind there's going to be problems in day one, for sure.
No MMO ever has had a smooth launch.
Yeah.
That I can ever think of.
Yeah. The TBC launch was pretty smooth this week, though. I was pretty shocked.
Wow.
No crashes or anything? No queues?
There was one or two, like the super full servers, the streamer server for Alina had pretty bad queues. I think it was also getting DDoSed, or at least that's what Blizzard claims. It wouldn't surprise me, though. After all the boosting and stuff, I'm not surprised at all that they got DDoS super hard.
I'm angry. You ruined my leveling
kind of serves them right, to be honest. Fuck them, dude.
I also don't think that, like, even if a game comes out in shitty state, I don't think it can't be saved. Like, I don't know if you guys ever touched No Man's Sky, but that game came out as a dumpster fire, but then they had like this massive 180 turnaround.
Yeah,
but most games just don't, right?
What's the name of the game again?
Yeah, No Man's Sky.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That did. I
think
job.
the only MMO that I can think of that like just ate shit and then redeemed itself is probably Final Fantasy 14, right? Like, they actually proved that you can have just a dog shit launch and go back and just do the work and come back and save it. Every other game, though, if they don't get it right on the first chance, like, even if they fix it later, I hear a lot of people say good things about like ESO nowadays, and I don't know, dude. I just feel like a lot of those games just kind of missed their window. They could have been something big, but they're just always going to be kind of further down the list because the launch didn't go well.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, like, what Final Fantasy did is they brought in somebody who had a big name. Like, he was a pretty famous developer, apparently. And that got people really hyped up for, like, maybe it'll get fixed. Gave people, like, a second redeeming, gave the game a second chance, so to speak. So, I do think that's maybe possible. I don't think that's possible with New World, though. Even if they brought in some... Well, maybe I don't know. It's just hard to say, really.
Yeah, New World they just need like for the territory capture shit to be fun. Like just something where you can go out and do world PvP over some sort of, miniature objectives or some sort of like honor kill system, or I don't know, just like it's something where you can progress and have an impact or something at stake when you're fighting another player is all that game needs. And the rest of it is already like will build itself around that, like people will want to progress so that they can do better in the PvP so they can get whatever the reward is. But right now, it feels like you just max out, and there's no point in doing anything beyond that.
They also have this like opposite problem that a lot of games don't have, is that they listen to what people think too fucking much
Way
instead
too
of
much. Yeah.
like literally they're like, oh well, we're going to scrap the entire core of our game because people don't like PvP. Like, bro, who the fuck are you even listening to? What do you mean
Yeah.
MMO
Yeah.
players don't want PvP? It's so weird.
It's
Definitely but what's funny is they don't listen to feedback for things like the cash shop, where everyone is like,
Exactly.
there's like 100% consensus among the entire community of we don't want this, and they literally quadruple fucking down on it, like with yet another blog post. It's like, okay, dude. How are you going to listen to someone who went and made an angry forum post after they got PK'd, but you're not going to listen to literally everyone in your community who's raging against your monetization?
Yeah, it's so weird. And it's like it's the exact opposite problem of like BDO.
Yep. Yeah, it's really strange.
BDO listens to feedback. It's just feedback regarding people wanting to 1v1 world bosses.
I feel like
weird,
like that's a problem that they have like a lot of games are having right now, is they're listening to like very vocal minorities instead of actually understanding what the majority wants. And it's like that's like seems to be an ongoing issue, because the PvP was obviously like a vocal minority that was upset about it. And then the same thing with like this world boss thing where you like, I want to be able to solo a world boss. It's obviously like some dude who's like a very vocal minority who put in like 5 or 10 reports for it. He's like, he put in one report for every boss or something, like
the BDO and the feedback in BDO feels like there's a list, like there's a report that they get, where if I work at Pearl Abyss, I can like go to the feedback section on our internal, dev tool and read player feedback. And it feels like somebody is just going in there and just scrolling down, and just randomly the first thing that pops out of like 200 posts, they just randomly scroll past the first 100 and something pops out about like number 136, and they go, oh, okay, yeah, I'll do that one. Like that's what the feedback in BDO feels like.
Yeah, true. I feel like they have a long way to go in that. And I feel like the underlying problem with it is like they don't. Again, it comes down to like it feels like they're not playing the game. Because if you played the game, you'd be like, who asked for this, right? Anybody who plays the game just a little bit would be like, who asked for this? And you'd be like, let's delete that one, get that one out of there. That's trash. No one wants that, or like this one guy wants that, right? Or whatever the case is. And I feel like that's really comes down to a lot of these issues, like life skilling not getting proper attention. Like again, somebody not playing the game, like. And then for New World, I feel like it's like a similar problem. It's like the guy who's making this decision is not the guy who's like, he doesn't play the game. He doesn't understand what is fun about it. And so he's just like, I'll do what everyone else wants to do. And he has no vision for what the game should be for fun. And like what is, was actually fun based on playing it.
You telling me Succession Lawn didn't need a PvE buff?
Oh my gosh. I did not think that 25% crit rate would be that big of a deal, but holy smokes. It's everybody's playing Lawn now. Everybody's
25% crit on an ability that has 0% crit on a class that's so crit starved, you use the crit BSR over the attack speed BSR is a big deal, bro. It's crazy.
Like a lot of people are telling me that Lawn Succession is now better than Striker, which is insane. And she was already really strong, but that's what a lot of people right now are starting to think that. And on top of that, she's way easier to grind with. So it's like, why would you spend all that effort when you can just play Succession?
The crazy thing about it though is I went to Orcs on the Suck Lawn with 1,200 skill points and was able to pull 10k trash with 1,200 skill points. You literally need like no skill points for her for PvE. It's crazy.
There's a lot of classes that are getting pretty easy though. Like Sage is pretty easy. Like 1200 is more than enough for him as well. I think they've done it with a lot of the new classes.
They need to just make skill points a family resource.
Oh my gosh, I don't know how would I feel about that? I don't know. I've like
Really?
spent so much time. I spent so much time
You-
grinding skill
You
points.
want it, bro? You have way too much sunk cost in this game.
Well, I mean, it's sort of like it would be punishing players who spend a lot of time leveling up their characters and getting skill points.
Yeah, but why punish everyone because the game used to be worse when it could be better? Like,
No, that's not.
I don't know.
Well, I mean, it's like
But-
the whole point right now is there's not a reason for skill points, so then you just make skill points obsolete. Like if you're just doing that, you can just remove them.
They already are obsolete, man. They're just a chore. They don't serve any purpose anymore. People don't have different builds based on how many points they have. They just go to polys and knock out their chore hours.
It's always
and then they have
been a
full
chore,
build.
though. It's always been a chore. It's never been not a chore.
Yeah. So what? So you're saying they shouldn't remove the chore because people have always had to do the chore? I just don't think that's a good reason. Like because the game has been bad in the past, we shouldn't make it better now.
Well,
like,
I
just
don't-
make it
I-
better.
I
Just get rid of
think-
the people who had to suffer in the past. Sorry, let's now make it so that people in the future don't also have to suffer.
My idea would be to just like make it better, but make it useful. So make it
Free infinite pot to everybody.
I feel like adding like extra like passive skills where you can just invest extra skill points into that for some type of thing, like maybe extra
See,
combat
now you're
XP
talking, 'cause
or
now we're saying Paragon levels. Now we're getting
yeah,
somewhere.
exactly.
Yes.
There's a purpose
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
it that doesn't actually offer a combat value. So you either offer like you can invest your skill points to get skill points faster.
What? No combat value.
Well, if
You're-
you do
you're
combat value,
you're losing me now.
if you do combat value, then I think that's a very slippery slope. I mean, I'm not opposed to that because I will grind more skill points than everyone else, but I do think it's a very
I mean, it
slippery
would
slope.
just make, just add fucking Paragon levels. They had it on Global Lab at some point where you could farm extra family AP and DP and stuff, and they took it away. Of course, that would be good, man. Of course,
Yeah.
that would be good.
I do think that would be a really nice system to have. I think there should be a purpose to skill points. I think like there's two extremes you could take with it, right? One, you make skill points irrelevant and you almost like remove them from the game and you make them family, right? And I think the other alternative is you give some benefit to still doing it, like make it where you can level up, you can over level abilities and give them like extra damage in PvE, or you can passive you can invest into it, like what was it on mobile BDO? You could invest into either like 4 different stats for the Black Spirit. I think that'd be really cool for extra skill points. I feel like there's a lot of things you do, like extra damage in Kama Sylvia, like or maybe
all of those things, as long as it's family based.
they could also make it where like you could go and invest your skill points into like the Kama Sylv territory, and then make it where you have extra movement speed in Kama Sylvia. Like I think there's all sorts of like little unique things they can do, where like make that actually worth your time.
I think I should be able to invest skill points in reducing the time that it takes to prune my farms.
I think there needs to be a lot of reasons to use skill points, and right now there's not.
All right, well,
For sure.
I have some TBC to get back to.
Yo,
got
what are
anything
you
else wanna
doing?
cover this week?
What are you doing this week in TBC?
Leveling up. We'll probably hit. I'll probably get like 2 levels a day. That seems to be the current pace. Just taking it kind of comfy. Once we get everyone, or at least a group of 10 people, to 70, we'll go do Karazhan. I don't remember Karazhan at all, so I'm excited. A lot of new content for me. A lot of people in the guild have everything fucking memorized still from 2007, but it's going to be pretty new for me. So I'm going to be doing that, and then. The only thing is, I will be going out of town on next Wednesday for a few days. So I will be gone next week. So I don't know if you guys want to do a podcast without me, but I'll be gone from the 9th to the 12th. Hopefully I don't actually make it to the semifinals, because if I do, I'm going to have to figure out my flight plan for how to do the trial tournament. But yeah, that's pretty much my plan. What about you guys? What do you got going on this week?
Sure.
I've been busy the last couple days. Been like trying to finding a new apartment, and I got all that all sorted out, but I have a summer class as well, so that's kind of like killing a bunch of my time. But other than that, yeah, it's
Oh.
just same old BDO. Nothing too crazy.
You actually did decide to do the summer class.
Yeah, I did.
So that's going to cut down on your time to graduate, right? By like a whole quarter?
So the way it was like if I took 2 summer classes this summer, then I can get my bachelor's in December. But if I didn't take these 2 summer classes, I would have had to wait till May.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like I'm giving up my summer, but then I don't have to take a semester next in the spring. So
That's kind of nice.
It pays off, I guess, right?
So Moreland's going to beat up the internet guys, so they stop disconnecting him from the internet. And he has proper upload, and Kerr is working on his bachelor's. Nice. For me, I am doing my Infinite stream. I think the timer's at like 190 hours to 200, something like that. So that's gonna be my life for the next week at least. The plan is to get Kuno to 62 this week before the maintenance. I want to get Sage 63, and then we're re-rolling to Lon, and we're gonna be working on Lon 64. Lon is currently 63 and like 40% roughly. So we'll be getting going to Lon and knocking that out. I'll probably be playing Awakening Lon. I'm not really inclined to play Succession Lon.
What a Chad.
Yeah, I mean, like, I might try it just to understand how OP it is, but I'll go back to the Awakening because that's why I wanted to play. It's fun. That's kind of like my week right now. Like the sub goals in BDO, is get 2,000 life fame. So working on that, getting like professional fishing on like random characters and stuff right now, and other stupid shenanigans. That's about it though.
Did you guys ride the AMC wave at all this week?
No.
Oh man,
It's too late, dude.
it's too late now. But man, that was fun for a couple days.
Making big
Dude,
cash.
it's so crazy that like even in my bumfuck middle of nowhere Mississippi, people are like investing in AMC and shit, like thinking they're like stock gods. It's crazy.
amazing.
Stock gods. They
Dude,
are
I've been
stock,
fucking-
bro. Anyone who bought AMC last week is a stock god. All right.
Like
Well,
even here in Mississippi, people are like, buy Doge, bro. And I'm like, bro, you're living in the middle of fucking
I've been
nowhere. I don't
holding
even
this
know what a
shit
Doge
since
is.
like January, man. I've been holding since fucking January, and it's gone up and down so many times. And I fucking diamond hands, then it went all the way up to $60. And I fucking cashed out at the perfect moment, and I feel great.
Man, you rich. The
No, I didn't put that much in to begin with. I should have though.
the what's it called? What surprises me is how these are professional brokers and they are dumb enough to try to short the same stock twice. Like they shorted it, everybody bought it up and punished them for being dumb and trying to manipulate the real life marketplace. And then they're like, hey, it won't happen again. It's a one-time thing. Yeah, let's do it again. Let's short the AMC again. And then they're like, oh, okay. Hey, more free money. Everybody cash in on AMC again. And then goes back up and they have to do it all over again. It just surprises me.
Well, Reddit's too powerful, dude. I mean, they can't be stopped. Brokers don't stand a chance.
I mean,
All right.
I
that's all
saw some
got.
shit where they thought it was the stimulus checks the last time or some shit, but yeah.
yeah. All right, Marlon, wrap it up for us. That was good.
That was episode 47 of Nerds and Words. You can find us every week, typically on Friday at noon Pacific, 3 Eastern time. Once again, I am Moreland TV. You can find me at Moreland TV on all the different things. Potion Shop, where do people find you at?
Potion Shop TV, Potion Shop on YouTube, and Lotion Shop on YouTube.
Perfect.
Also
And then-
Spotify.
Yeah, Spotify. That's where we upload the podcast every week if you miss it live. And Kurt?
I'm just simple. Twitch.tv/KHUR. Pretty straightforward.
There we go. Thank you guys for watching and hanging out. Hope to see you next time. Have a good week, everybody.